Hello guys, just to warn you, spoiler alert, there will be many spoilers on The Rise of Skywalker and otherwise, so if you don't want to hear that, fuck off. Hello everybody, I'm Caleb from Flora Popcorn Next Level Opinions. I forgot this podcast existed.
And I'm not Robot.
Kind of threw me off there. Okay, well, I'll take it. Welcome back to the Scratch and Sniff podcast. You want to smell my ass? Is that a funny joke?
Yeah, I already know what it smells like.
Oh.
It smells like White Claws.
You're not wrong about that. The claw is the law.
Why do you keep saying that? I have never heard. Is that like on the TV show or something? Is that on like a commercial?
It's in my head.
Okay.
I mean, it's there. The claw is the law in my mind.
It rhymes. It rhymes well.
Yeah. I mean, you've ever rhymed anything?
You can't spell claw without la.
If you couldn't tell, we're drinking White Claws today.
Yeah, we were playing a game where if you guys are a fan of The Office, you could play this game as well. You go to say a line verbatim, and if you get the line wrong, that is going to be spoken, then you have to take a drink. If you get the line right, you have to pass out a drink. It is surprisingly a lot harder than it sounds when you're actually playing it, but it'll get you drunk.
All right. Are you excited to talk about
this
right
is
now?
Very much like if I were to have surgery on something that I need to have surgery on.
Okay.
I'm like excited to get it over with.
To get it out of the way.
Yeah, but I'm excited because I think once it's done, it's gonna be for the better. I think I'm glad I waited this long to talk about it.
That's kind of how I feel about this series as a whole right now.
Yeah, and I don't want to speak for other people. I have spoken to a few personal friends, and I have watched quite a few reviews on the series and on the entirety. It's hard. It's hard to talk about because I have a lot of mixed emotions about it. In case you haven't read the title before you watch,
your fucking lips.
Am I doing that? Am I doing
like
a
3 times? Continue.
It's my mouth's dry. Give me a White Claw. Give me another White Claw. Give me the law. I really do need another one. Another one behind you. Thank you, sir. I'm gonna try not to smack. Let me open this.
You're ruining my business.
I know. It's what I've ruined much more.
Yeah, well, continue.
What we are talking about is Star Wars, a series that is very near and dear to my heart, and
as it is to mine.
The series just ended the Skywalker saga as it would be.
That it did. About 3 days ago? I clack my lips, but it's not as bad. I clack my lips lightly and I look away.
This is so terrible. Yeah. So, Rise of Skywalker just came out, ending the Star Wars saga. I'm sure a lot of people who watch this are fans of Star Wars franchise as well. Since I did not see The Phantom Menace when it first came out the first weekend, but I did see it pretty early on. But ever since then, I've watched every Star Wars the opening weekend until Rise of Skywalker, actually, as have a few people I've talked to who have yet to see this movie. Caleb have already made me aware that I'm going to be talking about the series, and I have yet to see Rise of Skywalker, but with
true.
Good purpose, though. I actually... watching The Last Jedi, I'm kind of jumping towards the end of this really quick, but I just want to get out of the way. Last Jedi was the first Star Wars movie I didn't watch more than once in theaters. I've only seen The Last Jedi once, and upon first viewing, I thought I liked it. I remember liking it. I remember like being really confused when I left the theater, but I thought I liked it. And then like everybody else, they kind of had a few more viewings, and then they decided that it wasn't the movie that they thought they saw. And that's why we're kind of doing this episode like this, just kind of like talking about Star Wars as a whole, just because it means a lot to me. I'm very passionate about this. Caleb, I'm kind of very curious. You say Star Wars means a lot to you. How do the originals sit in your heart? Like, what was the first Star Wars movies you watched as a kid?
I believe the first Star Wars movie I remember watching it'd have to be Empire Strikes Back.
Cool. Lucky.
I almost want to say it was Return of the Jedi, but no, I'm pretty sure I started on Empire Strikes Back. It's the one I remember seeing the most. And then you know what? I saw The Phantom Menace a lot with my grandparents because my parents made them rest in shit. They're still alive, but they liked the originals a lot, or at least my father did, and my stepmother bandwagoned. He liked the originals, so I watched them a lot at home, but I spent probably more time with my grandparents than I did with them, and they watched the prequels fairly often. My grandma loved the prequels. So I watched The Phantom Menace very often, and that's how I fell in love with it. I remember pod racing, like, more than fucking anything from my childhood.
Pod racing's awesome.
Pod racing was just, like, I thought that was in, like, every Star Wars, because I watched The Phantom Menace so often, and it wasn't until I was older that I watched, all of them over again. I realized, oh, hey, that's not in it's just this one.
It's funny you say that, actually, because you're pointing something out. Like, that's kind of a big difference between the prequels and the original compared to this one is, like, and this is I actually had an argument with one of my roommates recently about the canon of Star Wars, is when George Lucas was at the helm of it, it seemed as though almost like how Tolkien was with the Lord of the Rings. Is like, okay, that's his story. That's the way.
You want to go wake Jordan up real quick?
No, I don't wake Jordan up for this. That was one of the funniest incidents ever.
Maybe I'll post some of that video with this episode.
That's so funny. He didn't conceive that you could have canon already preconceived for a story before you're done writing the story. Either way, though. But with the prequels and the original, like that, he tells a story, and I know a lot of people have problems with midichlorians and some of the bad acting and bad writing in the prequels, which
there's a lot of story to Phantom Menace. There's a lot of just giving the fans what they want.
Because as a kid, I didn't really understand a lot of the story. I remember when I first watched the Phantom Menace because it's so political and there's so much going on. I remember. But
they answered so many questions just about the Jedi and just becoming a Jedi in general. Like, I think it's a really solid fucking movie. I know that's not popular opinion, but
I'm okay with I could do a whole episode defending midichlorians and the idea of,
personally, I could do a whole episode just defending the Phantom Menace. It's my favorite of the prequels.
Yeah, so that's funny. Nobody says that about Attack of the Clones, but yeah.
No. Okay, here's the thing. I will defend the prequels like pretty much till the day I die. I will not defend Attack of the Clones.
That's literally on the bottom of everybody's list.
That is the bottom of any Star Wars movie that I've ever seen in my life, and that's even including The Last Jedi and what was the Return of the something of the Attack of the Jedi, something Jedi.
Last Jedi.
No, the newest one, or Sith something.
Skywalker?
Right, Skywalker. There we go. I have not remembered the name of this movie because, newsflash, I don't like this movie.
Yeah, I was surprised you didn't like it as much as you didn't like it.
Genuinely, I went into Rise of Skywalker hoping to like it. I literally don't like it so much that I keep forgetting the fucking name.
Yeah, he gave me shit because I
gave you shit before I watched the movie because you were so adamant about not liking it. I was like, I'm going to give it a chance.
I wasn't adamant about liking it.
J.J. Abrams was coming back, and I was like, maybe he'll do something with it. He did nothing.
I still think I'm going to feel more like the people who I watch reviews feel about it. Like the parts they did like, I'm probably going to like too. The parts they don't like, I'm probably going to agree.
There are a few parts that were kind of cool, but for the most part.
Because there's Star Wars used to be. I'm a spoiler guy. I don't mind spoilers. I treat movies almost like they're all roller coasters. It's more about the experience and ride. There's very few series where I care about not having the end spoiled.
Sometimes I don't like spoilers, but honestly, if it's a really good movie, a spoiler isn't going to change how I feel about it.
Exactly. To me, it's about the execution.
And that's also a pretty unpopular opinion, which is also why they changed the ending multiple times.
Yeah, because I watched some of the spoiler leaks when they first came out, and people were unhappy. And then who knows how true it is, but there was a lot of rumors that Disney was scrambling and they were changing it to avoid, because people were having such negative reactions to some of the spoiler leaks, that they changed it last minute.
And honestly, you can't do that with a movie.
And
let's just kind of give it a steady downcline.
And the spoilers I did watch, and compared to the reviews I've seen, they seem pretty accurate. It seems like I could call I know the entire movie. I've never seen it.
Well, just after reading up and finding out that Disney may have been scrambling for this movie, after watching it, I can pretty much 99% guarantee that is what happened, because there's so many scenes that seem like they're just fucking thrown in and they're just there just for a fucking awe factor. And that plot wise, Rise of Skywalker makes no sense.
You want to know something even weirder?
It looks great. All of them look great.
Yeah. That's the one thing you can't argue with Last Jedi.
You're gonna have
the music and the visuals alone are out of this world.
You know that going into one of these new Star Wars movies, you're at least going to have a very good time visually, and you're not going to have per se a bad time in the theater. It's not like going in like not knowing what you're seeing with a movie, because they're all going to be well shot. They're all going to have really good fight scenes. They're all going to just look really nice and sound really nice. But the thing is, in Star Wars, I've heard, like, even after I came out of the theater with a couple of my buddies, some of them were kind of saying, like, oh, it's Star Wars, I love Star Wars, so I'll take what I can get. And, I guess I kind of get, just being happy that there's new Star Wars coming out in general, because, compared to nothing. But at the same time, there's so much riding on Star Wars and so many fans. And, if it's a good movie, we're going to watch it forever. And if it's a bad movie, it's gonna become Attack of the Clones, which every time, like, before the new Disney movies started coming out, when I watched, I wouldn't watch all 6. I would watch 5. I would skip Attack of the Clones every time. And that's what's going to happen with some of these movies now, because they didn't try hard enough. They're putting so
any traction at all.
No, they're not. They're putting so much effort into throwing one of these movies out every year because, quote unquote, that's what the fans want. But that's what the new fans want. That's what the bandwagon fans want. And I'm not trying to be a high and mighty fucking next level opinion dick right now. But
supposedly it just hit 500 million worldwide today. I don't know if I believe these numbers anymore.
Wait, what? Didn't we just check in? It was like, what, 100?
It was 170 for the weekend, which was
that was only a couple days ago. It was like 2 days ago.
Yeah, that's why I'm confused.
When we checked that doesn't make sense.
So it was 170 for opening weekend, which was about, it sounds like 30 million less than what they were aiming as low. They were expecting at least 190 at 200 to be the lowest, but they were hoping for closer to 300 million.
Man, when I went in the theater, it's not dude, compared to like going to the theater because I went opening night.
It's funny.
Going to the theater opening night on Force Awakens was insane. Last Jedi, still pretty insane. Dude, Rise of Skywalker, that theater was basically empty. Like it wasn't empty, but I'd say less than half of the theater.
There's 8 people that I surround myself with that I enjoy talking about Star Wars with, and we go deep into the theories and deep about like all the mythos and all the movies and the Mandalorian and all this cool shit we're watching. And out of the 8 people, only 6 of them have not seen this movie yet. And we're like the real fans. Like, we're like the ones who actually put the heart and care into. And I know like people like, what do you mean real fans? Like, it's for everybody.
And that's what I was getting into a minute ago too. Like, you don't want to be douchey about it, but at the same time, like, there are people that kind, like you said, like, that dive deep into the mythos of Star Wars, that dive deep into like the plot and whatnot. But there's other people that are just like, oh, it's cool, there's lightsaber fights and whatnot. And yeah, it is. I get the appeal of that, and I'm glad. Like, I don't think that it's bad to not be a huge Star Wars fan in that sense. Like, not everyone has to be the biggest fan of everything, it's just different fucking strokes. But just the fact that Star Wars is so big and there's so much, like, riding on it, as I said before, I do think you should try harder. And
because we'll give you all the time and all the money you want. Like, if Disney could start a GoFundMe for Star Wars movie, and they would still get money from people. I would donate money to it for it.
Anyone would.
You could take all the time in the world and literally just no rush. Like, but it's too late now. The Skywalker saga is over, and it feels like I don't know. It's a weird feeling.
I get what they're doing. They're appealing to the masses. A lot of people do want a Star Wars movie every year, and it's all those people that, I've talked to so many friends and just random people that are like, every time one of these Star Wars movies comes out, I'm going to go and I'm going to go spend money. Yeah. I'm going to fucking go see it, and that's what Disney's riding on, because they know they're going to make money either fucking way, like, no matter what.
But, yeah. Even though they are going to make their money back, though, they were expecting so much more than only 170 million, and they do take that into accountability. And I know they're going to have to take a step back, and because they were expecting like Avengers numbers, they're Disney.
But the thing is, you're not going to get Avengers numbers when you're not making a movie anywhere near as good as those movies.
Yeah, and that's, you want to know a weird fact?
And the thing is, they could.
Check this out. I actually just realized this because I forgot they changed the canon. See, the old I'm throwing this in as a really weird fact because I don't think a lot of people realize this. But the old canon was that or at least the idea was that Anakin was actually birthed by the midichlorians by Darth Plagueis, who is the person that trained Sidious or Palpatine.
Yeah.
The new theory is that that's not canon anymore. There's actually comic books.
Wait, it's not?
No, it's not canon anymore.
Oh, shit.
And because the new canon is, because even if you watch Revenge of the Sith, it still works with the comic book, because there's been comic books released where he has a conversation with somebody where he alludes to the fact that he doesn't say it outright, but he alludes to the one that he was the one who actually manipulated the Force into giving birth to Anakin. So that's in one of the comics. That's the new Disney. I watched a YouTube video about it, and
don't they even hint to that? Because don't they even hint to that a little bit in Attack of the Clones? Doesn't his mom kind of like it's not like a very out there hint, but it's just kind of like it's a little ominous. But
from what I remember, though, it was always the idea that it was Pelagus. It was somebody above Palpatine who had the ability to do it, which I like that theory. I don't really like the theory, but if that being, then does that mean that Rey and Kylo are cousins, and there's even more Star Wars accidental incest now? I mean, technically, like, that's right, because if Palpatine's which it's funny that's kind of canon, but there's no canon about Palpatine having kids. Like, sorry, spoilers. Spoilers who hasn't seen The Rise of Skywalker? I haven't seen it yet either, and I'm gonna give you spoilers for it.
Maybe we should just go back and just say like spoiler alerts in the beginning of this.
Yeah, we'll do something. You could put it in the title. Put it in the title.
It's now in the beginning of the episode, but you guys already heard that. What were we talking about?
We're talking about some of the problems that we have with Rise. We're just jumping into this last movie because I'm
just going to jump around this whole episode. I'm not going to go in a specific time. Well, maybe we can like after we talk about this, but I want to talk about it a little bit first.
Yeah, and I'm actually I wish.
Well, do you want to start? Well, if we're going to talk about Rise of Skywalker, do you want to start off on that, or do you want to go through the series as a whole and then go back to
Let's just do the newest three, because I think let's keep it relevant.
Let's just start out on the Force Awakens then. Cool.
We'll go there. I think we haven't really talked about the Force Awakens, but
we talked about it a little bit like last week. I think
we feel the same way about it. Well, I
think you feel a little stronger about it than I do, actually.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I give it about as a movie, I give it a 7 out of 10. As a Star Wars movie, I give it like a 6 or 7 out of 10 too. I keep it up there. It's not one of my favorites, but it was like I saw the setup. I could see where it was going. There was so much potential. I remember all the theories for Last Jedi's. It was so exciting. All the different directions you could have gone with it. Like,
let's not go with that right now, because if we want to get into the story after, like, I feel like they gave us a really good piece of story to start off with, like a lot of forks in the road, and then just bent all of the forks and then stuck them up their ass, and then like did a little like you run around in circles until you're dizzy and then you fall down.
Yeah, I just want to talk about
jammed a little farther up in your ass,
because I want to try really hard, just like a lot of other people are doing with this series. I want to stay positive about it, because it is still something I love. Like, I don't want to see it in a bad light, no matter how it makes me feel.
I don't want to shit on it, but I kind of feel like as fans we have to.
And
so
it's
Disney,
fair. I agree. I'm just gonna try because to me it's too much like of an easy target. Like, yeah, we could talk about how it was a soft reboot of the original movie, like to a T. Like, there's literally.
You know what though? That's not even my biggest issue with that movie, at least personally.
What were your issues with the Force Awakens?
So my issues, I feel like first off, it was very predictable. Very, very predictable in my eyes. Like, everything that happened, I pretty much saw coming. Mm-hmm. The one thing I did get spoiled on. Spoiler alert: Han Solo dying.
That's literally the one thing I was going to ask. When it got to that point, I felt like it was predictable, but I didn't know if he was. But I didn't know if he was going to go through with it either. I feel like it could have been, because you would have said the same thing if he would have not killed him. If he would have not killed him, like, oh, it's Disney. I knew it was too predictable. You know what I mean? You can kind of go either way, but you knew something was going to happen with him and his dad.
I did get like briefly spoiled on it, and then I was like telling myself throughout the movie, like, no, it's not going to happen. But then when I already knew that, like when I already had that knowledge, and then it was getting closer and closer, I was like, this is pretty fucking obvious. So it might have been because I saw it that way, but either way, the movie was predictable, and I really didn't like the fucking awe factor about that, and that's an issue that I had in the new movie, but for a very different reason. In The Force Awakens, I just felt like every time they introduced, Leia and fucking Han Solo onto the screen, just old characters and old like memories in general, like even C-3PO and like R2-D2 and all that, every time they were introduced, it was just like bright shining lights on their face and like fucking like, the fucking music coming up, and that's cool. It's cool in a sense, but I feel like it was drawn out a little bit to the point that it was like just for just for the theater experience. Like when you watched it, it was like, oh, that's awesome. I haven't seen these people in forever. But then when you go down the line and you're watching them just as movies, in the series, it's like it stands out from all the others because you don't have that. You don't have those scenes in the original trilogy. You don't have those scenes in like fucking Phantom Menace, even though like it's not the same exact character they were introducing. It was a young Anakin and young fucking.
But that being said, though, that's what makes Force Awakens really interesting compared to these two movies. Is while all three movies have that, The Force Awakens at least has the introduction of Finn, which is done really well and really interesting way they introduce him.
I like the introductions to the newer characters.
And Kylo.
I don't like the introductions to the older characters.
Oh yeah, and
I feel like it was just very out of place for the movie.
But though that being said, though, look at the new characters that they introduce in Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker feel very forced. At least
and
you
also
get a
they don't
couple.
fucking matter.
But at least Force Awakens is the only one out of the three new ones that their new characters don't feel like they're fucking wedged in there all of a sudden. And it felt like a regular ass movie at least. Like I know you said you watched Last Jedi recently. Have you watched Force Awakens recently? Cause
yes, that's actually what I was gonna say right now.
The tone is so different.
Well, it is different. The thing is, okay, when Force Awakens came out, I was so excited for a new Star Wars movie. I saw it about 4 times in theaters, I believe.
I watched it three. I think I watched it 3 times.
Yeah, I watched it like 3 or 4 times in theaters, and you know what? Every time I watched it in theaters, I had a really good time watching it. But the thing is, I have tried to rewatch it so many times since. I'm not even kidding. Like on 9 separate occasions, and I've turned it off at some point every single time because I get fucking bored.
It's a movie I would watch with like my nephews and like kids, and maybe if I'm like on a marathon, I'll throw it on. But yeah, I'm not going out my way for that.
No, I'm not anymore. And you know what? That's the thing. Like that's why I don't like the off factor about it because I feel like it was such a. That's why it was so weird to me because I remember when it came out on like DVD, and so I actually bought the steelbook for it. Like right when it came out because I remembered like I had so much fun in theaters watching it. I was like, I can't wait to watch it again. Every time I put it on, I just got fucking bored, and it was like I realized I just enjoyed the theater experience of that movie. I didn't really enjoy it that much as a whole. And you know what? Going back on it, I'm realizing Rey was a pretty good actor in the first movie, but overall, she's not a good actor. Actress. I'm sorry, but
she's just thrown in the towel. I mean, imagine being a part of this series that you have no control over. You thought you were getting into one of the greatest franchises in all time, and now you're just getting nothing but heat from a bunch of like no-name motherfuckers. Because like that's how I feel too. When I complain about this movie, I feel like that. I feel like who the fuck am I? Like I'm nobody to complain about. Like
no, yeah, I'm
this,
not.
You know, I'm not an actor. I'm not a producer. I don't do all this. I'm sure it's hard work. I'm sure they put a lot of love and effort into it. It's
definitely
just,
is.
The product that the end result is just not rewarding. It's just not what it should
But you know what?
be.
Just because they're going through hardships doesn't mean I can't say she's a bad actress because I don't think she's a good actress.
That's fine. Yeah, you totally have your opinion. That's she seems checked out of the series. They all seem checked out. Nobody seems on board. And that's
personally, I would be too.
It sucks because like, dude, there was actually pretty great movies. I still haven't seen Parasite. Excited to see that, but there was Avengers was this year. That was this year, right? Endgame was this year.
Yeah.
Endgame was this year. The Irishman was this year. I'm gonna watch The Lighthouse. I just got a copy of that to watch.
I'm just saying, man. I saw Ready or Not, 8 times in theaters.
Great movie.
That's probably my record for most watched movie in theaters. Because I've watched some other movies probably like 6 times in theaters roughly. I watched Ready or Not 8 times in theaters. I've talked about this so many times on my other podcast, but I don't give a shit, dude.
And there's not a shortage of movies being talked about, except, I don't hear anybody bragging about going to see Star Wars or like any moments.
I know
that
some
were really
people,
memorable.
but it's a certain brand of people.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. Is like I'm not trying to hate because I don't want.
I'm not hating. I love that. I still do love that. People are still giving love to this series regardless because it's better than Disney not making movies, I guess.
Yeah, and you know what, dude? Movie companies and production companies need to stop treating us like babies. Like I don't know how to explain it. We went through the same thing with Game of Thrones. Like you give us something shitty. Like we have no problem with it. Like we could deal with it. We're people. We can handle bad movies. We can handle bad stories.
Yeah, the thing is, if it's a bad movie, I'm just not going to watch it.
Exactly. Like, you don't have to change everything you're doing just to make us happy. Like, just make good stories. Like, don't try to cater to us. Don't try to appease the social justice warriors. Don't try to appease the old heads. Don't try to...
Well, you know what, dude? And that's exactly what Star Wars is now.
He's trying to make everybody happy.
Trying to fucking please everyone. Yeah, it doesn't work.
It doesn't. And that's...
You got to just make your own fucking story, and then people are going to choose how they feel about it after. But you're not fucking... I guess you are doing that, but dude, there's no story.
See, I'm the only one, too, that when I feel like... I don't mean to say it this way, but when I talk about The Mandalorian, I love the fact that the Mandalorian started off real old westerny and really like it just had such a nice tone to it, and then mid-season it goes very, I keep using the reference as Hercules, a legendary tale. It goes very like 90s tropey, very predictable, but it's very at the end of every episode you're like, oh, it's aware of itself. It's just gonna move on. It knows exactly what it's doing.
And you know what? That's what makes me mad too, because they're doing so well in the Mandalorian. Why can't they do that good
Jon
on the
Favreau,
movies, man?
It's Marvel. It's the Marvel people. It's the Marvel side of it going over. Dave Filoni, who I'm pretty sure he did the Clone Wars, the one everybody likes.
But you know what, man? Bring some of those people onto the fucking movie business. Kind of like, just move them up, pay them a little more.
It's the writing's on the wall with this one. It's just all the problems were so obvious with what happened. They gave too many different directors too much. You know, it should be one concise story. It's always been George Lucas, and now they have two different different directors with three different ideas trying to make one series, and it came across as like a poorly written TV series. Like,
so anyway, my thoughts on The Force Awakens. I don't hate it. It's my favorite out of the three.
Yeah, I'll give it that, because the tone is.
I don't love it by any means. I really don't. But it's the best out of the three.
I was watching some clips the other day, and I was feeling suspense. I forgot it's.
Well, there's good parts in it. There's definitely good parts,
and it's very suspenseful.
And you know, even the introduction of like Snoke too. Like, dude, when they first introduced Snoke, I was like, oh, what the fuck is gonna happen? You know, like. But they ruined it.
But I was watching the scene where Finn's trying to get away. Rey's trying to get away from Kylo. She doesn't know she's powerful yet, so she's trying to get away from Kylo, and she's like she's all terrified. And then it's like the same time Finn's trying to get away from the stormtroopers too. He's like fighting. It's very like I was like, oh, I forgot they were like not strong right away. They weren't OP because in Jedi they're OP'd and Rise of Skywalker she's OP'd as hell. Like and that Force Awakens at least had like movie elements, which these other ones they don't.
It just drops. It's a steady decline.
It's weird that it was that. I don't remember it being that dramatic of a change. I'm gonna give in and watch Last Jedi again pretty soon here. I don't know why. Like, because there are some.
I'd be down to watch it with you when you do. Yeah. Like, I know I just watched it a couple days ago, but I'd be down to critique it.
But that's my problem with Last Jedi. Shit on it. All Star Wars movies have plot holes, but the plot holes in Last Jedi, I guess we're on Last Jedi now. This is appropriate.
That's fine. But I don't have too much to say about Force Awakens.
Yeah, I give it a rating 7 out of 10 for me. It's a 7 out of 10 for me.
The ending of it, like, okay, so like I'm giving it a lower rating, but for different reasons. It's just because now I don't have fun watching it. Like, as a Star Wars movie, I'm still gonna rate it honestly a 4 or a 5.
I see that. That's fine.
Like, as a Star Wars movie, that's not as of this trilogy. As just like as a Star Wars movie in general, like, am I gonna watch it constantly when I rewatch a series? No, I think I'm still gonna skip this whole fucking Skywalker trilogy. I don't really like it, but I think again,
I give it a 7. Star Wars movie is a 6 for me.
I think out of the trilogy, I'd give it a 7. Out of Star Wars movies, I'd give it a 4, probably. Like, that's what I'm going with. And you know what? I think they really just gave us a fork in the road, and they gave us a lot of possibilities. And you know what? I might have even liked it more and put it higher if the other movies did better. If they fell in line with what they set up with the first.
That was the only thing that was riding on.
It would have been such a better movie if they fell through with some of the shit that we wanted, you know.
That's why it still gets a rating so high, is because I saw what they're trying to do. That was the idea. Mm-hmm. I said that depending, because leaving Force Awakens and why I watched after the third time, I was like, okay, the next 2 movies will decide how much I actually said that in my head.
That's exactly what it was.
I'll leave it on the table and I'll let the next movies decide how I feel about it.
Well, because that's what they gave us. They didn't just give us a movie in the series. It wasn't like, you know, it might have been like shot for shot A New Hope almost, but it wasn't A New Hope. It didn't leave you with that feeling that you got at the end of the theater. It was always just like, dude, when New Hope came out and it ended, like, I'm sure when people left the theaters, they were just like, well, I already know. I know I wasn't there in the fucking 70s, but people were like, dude, this is fucking amazing. This is an amazing movie. Like, you didn't need the other ones to be good for that movie to be good, but they set it up that way that you need the rest of the movies to be good for that to be a good entry, because it was just like nothing really happened in the end of Force Awakens. Like, they set all these characters up, and it was like, okay, I'm excited for what's to come. But what came, it's not good.
And I actually, that's why Force Awakens stays so high up, because like, even though I said I was going to judge it on the next 2, Last Jedi was such a fucking wreck that I don't hold it against The Force Awakens. Like, it was so bad. It like moved past because
Do you
it
think
was
the series would have been better if J.J. Abrams did all three of them all the way through?
I think yes. I think it would have been better if any director would have wrote all because that to me is the biggest problem is that they had too many heads on it. And two,
and you know why did they switch to Rian Johnson?
The idea was it was actually going to be Colin Trevorrow, I believe, was originally going to do it, and then he ended up getting fired or working on something else. I don't remember what it was. So Kathleen Kennedy had worked with Rian Johnson before, like it was like a friend of a friend thing, and she really admired him and liked him as a writer, and so she invited him on to write and direct. It was her idea to hire him, and that's it, because Colin Trevorrow wasn't going to do it anymore. And so, and this is where the whole idea of Star Wars gets really fucked around for The Last Jedi, because this is really interesting. I actually had a respect for Ryan, because at first I was just mad after I like further reviewing the movie and thinking about it in my head. I was just like, oh, this was just like too many plot holes, all these devices that don't work, all these just storylines that don't go anywhere, and all these. Some of the things that got other people mad, like the humor, I was okay with the humor. Some of the jokes I was okay with, that other people got mad about. But the poor story writing and the giant gaping plot holes that take you out of the movie really, really ruined it for me. And also with The Last Jedi, it was his idea to do it that way. That's why I give the little turd a little bit of credit, because Rian Johnson, while making this movie, and whether he said this afterward, or no, he said it before he made the movie. This is why I get it credit, because I watched a making of, and he says this while he's shooting Last Jedi, is he believes that a movie isn't good if it's not contentious. He likes making the audience. He went into the idea of splitting the audience in half. He wanted half the people who watched it to like it, and he wanted half the people to hate it. And he said that during the interview, like while the movie's being made, and my jaw was on the floor.
Stupid.
It's a terrible idea, but dude, way to knock it out of the park goal wise. You did exactly what you said you would do.
I guess that if you're going for a piece of shit,
if you're like rooting for Hitler, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, you knocked out 20 million Jews. Like, hey, go, but that's the wrong team, stupid. Like, that's not the person you cheer for. But I guess if you're big goals, man, like. It's not.
It was an interesting comparison.
That's how I feel. He's Rian Johnson.
Got something to say?
Ryan Johnson is Hitler.
Okay, gotcha. glad that we blew that out of the water.
You ruined something I loved.
Yeah, it's just.
I mean, can we go through the
plot
holes?
So, are we on Last Jedi now?
Yeah, we're on Last Jedi. Let's just go through the plot hole, because like I was trying to be as nice as I could.
Go off on. I'd like to hear what you have to say about it, since I just watched it the other day. You know, I do have some things to say about it. You haven't watched in a while, so tell me what you remember about it.
So let's start with some of the major plot. Okay, so it starts. We'll talk about things that people hate, which is it starts off with the little prank call. No, it starts off the prank call.
Oh yeah, the prank call
between Poe.
I didn't mind that.
I liked it. I
like that part.
If I laughed during it, that means I liked it, and I laughed while it was happening, so I thought it was funny.
As a whole, just in the new Star Wars series, a lot of people have an issue with like the comedy aspect and stuff. I don't really ever mind comedy in any movie if it's done right.
If I laugh, that's how I know. If I giggle while it's happening, I'll allow it.
It doesn't matter if I'm watching an action movie, a horror movie, a sci-fi movie, or anything. Like if I have a genuine laugh, I never mind it. It's never an issue to me.
I just binged the John Wick series. And in the third one, they do a lot of those really cheesy action movie jokes that aren't in the first two. And I was like, yeah, I'll allow it. You earned it. Like, and that's how I felt about this. Like,
that's how I felt when I watched The Hills Have Eyes too. You know, the dog had a flashback, and it's hilarious. You know, you weren't going for it, but it hit, and it was funny.
Anyways,
that's why I like that movie.
You're 8 movies in. You want to mix it up a little bit.
Spider-Man 3.
You want to mix it up a little bit. Go for it. Stop it. Just stop.
Guys, did you guys? Did everyone know that Spider-Man 3 is like the top? I think this was from like a year ago, so it's probably like a little lower now, but top 3 most expensive movies ever made. It's right under Titanic, and what was the top? Pirates of the Caribbean, Titanic, Spider-Man 3, best movie of all time.
I'm just letting this conversation fizzle out.
Okay, go on. Back to Last Jedi.
Okay, so let's start with the plot. Okay, so but I didn't mind it. Okay, I'm glad we agree on
Spider-Man 3, best movie ever.
Okay, so but immediately after,
wait. Spider-Man 3 better than Rise of Skywalker?
Yes.
Spider-Man 3 better than Last Jedi?
Yes.
What about Force Awakens?
I don't know. I'll think about it. I'll give you an answer later.
Okay.
Answers
Fair
after
enough.
this. Okay, so Last Jedi. So my biggest...
Spider-Man 3 better than any movie in the world.
I think there is... You have to remind me, because I said I only saw this movie once, and I think it was 2 years ago now. the reason why Poe goes by himself is because they can't shoot at only one ship. They can only shoot at multiple ships. Is that the reason why he goes by himself?
You know what, dude? I just watched it a couple days ago, and I still couldn't exactly follow. Pretty much Leia just tells him to turn around because she doesn't want any casualties.
Yeah,
he's just like, nah, I got this. And then he gets all the casualties in the world, and then he's excited. And then Leia's like, you literally let, like, everyone die.
Yeah, and, but you're skipping over the plot. I want to talk about the plot holes. So they're flying over it. And here's the thing is, I can actually defend the plot holes, but I don't want to give them the defense, but I can.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest ones is they have these weird fucking bombers that have never existed that literally use gravity to drop bombs on these fucking Star Destroyers. There's no gravity in space. They fall as if they're gravity. The fucking remote falls past her and she catches it because they're in space. It doesn't make any sense. I can make it make sense. They're magnetic bombs and they're magnetically attacked. They don't fall like they're. They fall like they're.
Don't give them that much credit.
Yeah, I know.
That's not what they did. That's not what they were going for. That's not what they wanted to be.
So that immediately, I remember watching the movie and being, like it was like an immediate, like, wait a second, I don't like where this is going immediately. So that was like the first. That was okay. So that's during this, and they're worried about. I'm gonna skip to the middle because it applies to this. So one of the Holdo maneuver, right? It's known as the Holdo maneuver when she shoots the ship through light speed. It's the risky ship through light.
Some shit.
Anyways,
I don't know the exact term.
They end up ditching 3 capable ships because they run out of fucking gas. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Why don't you shoot one of those ships that you're going to lose with no people on it into the fucking ships instead of the ship that you had all the people on? How about... Dude,
it's still better than 1,000 Death Stars.
Okay, so explain. There's only, what, like 40 people on that last ship,
Death
right?
Stars, fucking, what was it, Star Destroyers?
Star Destroyers,
yeah. It was like 1,000 fucking... I know I'm skipping to the next movie, but that pissed me off.
So you have, what was it, like 40 people, 50 people is all that end up on the last ship or something. It's some abysmal number, right? So they're running from these fucking people on this ship, and they're about to run out of gas.
Oh yeah, because that was supposedly the rest of the rebellion on that ship, right?
Rose and Finn take a fucking 3-hour side quest when they only have 30 minutes. They have the time to fly to a different planet, get arrested, go through all while they're being like, why didn't they just sneak everybody else off one by one? Why didn't they just sneak everybody else? Like, if you guys were able to sneak off for 5 hours, why didn't they just sneak everybody else off onto Canto Bight? Why didn't everybody go to Canto Bight? Why didn't it doesn't make any fucking sense at all? Like
Rian Johnson rules. I'm calling him Rian because he doesn't deserve the name Ryan.
And he didn't spell his name right. He spelled his name like Rain wrong.
Rain. Dude doesn't even know the spell.
It's just plot hole after plot hole, poor writing. They bring in the character of DJ, who you feel like is going to do a lot more, doesn't do anything. There's just all these open ends. It's very underwhelming. It doesn't make any sense at some point.
And then would you say this is everyone's biggest issue, the Luke?
Luke
storyline.
Literally took the words out of my mouth. I was just gonna start talking about Luke too.
That seems to be everyone's biggest issue with it, and also is mine. I think we were talking about this the other day. I don't mind the lightsaber thing when Rey first hands him a lightsaber and he throws it. It's a little
I don't
alarming,
mind the concept. I mind the portrayal. I don't mind the concept of him being...
Well, because it's everything that happens right after
titty
that.
Milk, the green titty milk. It's ridiculous. It's not that you can't have the tempo go so up and down like that. That was just such a fucking out of place. Doesn't make any sense. Not necessary. Like you could have had him old grumpy. You could have had more interactions with Rey other than him being a creepy old guy sucking green titty milk. Like, I don't know, man. I want to know what
the whole representation of Luke in that movie just destroyed everything that he was in the original trilogy.
I want
everything he represented.
Like when they first screened that movie, like what was going through their head, or what they like. If people pretend like they liked it while they were watching it initially, like I really would love to be in those rooms, like when that goes down for the original viewing, and if they just are a bunch of yes men who are like, yeah, this is great, like this is awesome to watch, like. We want to see.
It's probably just Rotten Tomato critics.
You know what's funny too is before The Last Jedi came out, my biggest gripe turned out to be like one of the things like I was.
What was the porgs, right?
Yeah, I was really happy about what the porgs, because at first when I saw the porgs, not knowing what the movie was going to be, I was like, oh, these are just a cash grab. They want to make Furbies for Christmas or whatever. So I was like, my biggest gripe was like, these stupid porgs are only cute to make money. Turns out the porgs were just the editors, or like their creative way of getting rid of puffins that were where they're shooting Octu was this island, and it had a bunch of puffins that were all over the island. And instead of trying to CGI them out, which was a lot harder to do, they just did the porgs over. They made the cute porgs go over them in the scene. So it was like the clever way of, which is pretty clever. That's a pretty awesome way. That's a pretty creative way to get rid of, a problem in a movie. And
wait, so what was your issue? Was that they were just going to be like a cute little cash grab character? It wasn't like just that, like what they were.
Yeah, I thought it was like, which they do. Like all movies do that, and so like it was on the back of my head, like and which they did. But it's one of those things like I'll give you more power to you if you can get money from something, a creative solution. I support
Star Wars toys are
exactly because like
they make money regardless
because they obviously came up
a cute Star Wars toy.
Yeah, and they obviously did the Chewbacca scene. Post there was no puffins to cover there, so that was an idea that they had. But
watch those plosives, man.
Yeah.
Puffins.
Puffins.
Oh God. So we're like halfway through the Luke thing. So I think my biggest issue with the Luke thing, I think you agree with me on this, is just the fact that he does not give a shit about the Force or what happens to anyone whatsoever, and that is not Luke's character. His whole character was based on caring about what happened to the fucking rebellion and to everything.
Well, I think you could get to that point if it's well written, but I think we agree that you could, but
it just all tossed in.
Yeah, we don't. Kylo Ren thing that was what we don't agree with because he does not. That is not him to turn on his nephew. If he's not going to turn on his dad, he's not turning on his younger nephew.
Dude, there is no fucking way. Like, him being a grumpy old man, that's fine. Like, that's a thing that could totally fucking happen. But him turning on Kylo Ren and literally going to kill him in his sleep because he sensed some evil in him, like, no, that's not Luke. That's not fucking Luke in the slightest. That never would have been. That doesn't make sense. I feel like that pretty much makes the original trilogy like null and void.
Yeah, it's the whole idea. If it's the original trilogy is less convoluted than all the ones because it's a basic. Like the same story of Zelda or the same story of most those classic Hercules or Harry Potter or any.
You're really into this Hercules theory.
Well, it's the idea of thinking you're coming from nothing, being from no one, and then going on a crazy adventure and having to save the world or at least the universe as you know it. Like each one of these stories have this mythos, and there's a reason to that. That character building is great for humans in general. What it does for the human psyche, it sounds a little like I'm going too deep in it, but it's true. There's a reason why we relate to these stories is because that idea of being able to take on a challenge, no matter how big or small it is, it's nice to have that amplified. It's nice to have that reiterated in a way that is fun and retelling. And that's what these Star Wars did in a way that where it made. At the time, science fiction wasn't the coolest thing, and so it made science fiction really, really fun and accessible to a crowd that, before Star Wars, times in the world were hard. Movies were a newer thing. Just people lived a lot harder, and they didn't appreciate as much fantasy because that's what Star Wars is. It's a fantasy story, but with a lot of heroic elements thrown into it.
What do you think Red Foreman would rate the new trilogy?
Dumbass.
Oh fuck! So what's your next issue with The Last Jedi?
Last Jedi. Well, we could talk more about the plot holes, which there's plenty. Well, there's two other plot holes that are outstanding to me that I want to get out of my system really quick. The one is the General Holdo whole situation.
She sucks.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. It's very poorly written.
It's not even just poorly written. Her as an actor acting as that character.
Laura Dern's a terrific actress. She is a phenomenal actress in everything.
But not in this.
Well, her character doesn't make any sense at all. They arrest Poe. All they had to do is see, you know what I was expecting when I was watching this is that she was going to be a mole for the First Order. That's what I thought. Like, it's written all over it. It makes way more sense that she's a mole for everything they do.
That's what I thought it was going to be. And it wasn't.
She was basically written to be a mole. And then
even on my rewatch, I wanted it to happen, even though I already knew that wasn't the thing.
That's the only thing that would make sense. Why she goes, why wouldn't you just tell Poe? Why wouldn't you just tell Poe you have a plan? Like, what's the worst that could happen? He couldn't he would probably listen to you. He'd probably do what you're...
100% he would.
So
she was just being a whiny dick the whole time, and it was pissing me off.
Yeah, so that was weird. That was one of the major plot holes that really, really bugged me. I didn't have a problem with Leia flying through space after she was dead. I know, but I had a problem with them killing Admiral Akbar in the background in that scene. That bugged me. That was fucking whack. That they could just whack off fucking. It's a trap like that. It's bullshit. I didn't have a problem with her flying through space. Everybody's like, oh, when the doors open, they should have been stuck. I was like, no, they have ion barriers. Like they're fine. Like there's canon there. There's with her flying. I've never seen that power, but I'll allow it.
I'm not mad at it. Like it's not something that I'm gonna fucking sit on and be mad about.
Yeah, it's a new force powers happen. The force is supposed to be a background tool for the characters. It's not supposed to be a driving force.
Why can't you bring new powers into the fucking series? That's fine. If it's
the
cool.
midichlorians are surrounding her, creating a force field. She knows force healing. Force healing has been around in Star Wars forever, canon and non-canon. So it's fine. They made it real canon with Yoda baby recently in Mandalorian, so
True.
it's always been in the video games. It's always been in the comic book, so I'm okay with that. So that didn't bug me. So they're the biggest, one of the biggest. If you know physics even a little bit, so the biggest plot hole in this motherfucking movie, and it's with this terrible character named Rose Tico. The actress is fine. She's little girl that plays Rose Tico. She's a nice woman, but so there's a scene where Finn's gonna save everybody by crashing into this big fucking like cannon that's gonna shoot out the door and wipe everybody out. And so he's like, maybe if I drive into it, I can save everybody. And dude, for a second, you're like, okay, Rian Johnson's gonna kill Finn, and he's gonna have this great moment where he
would have been awesome.
Yeah, he's gonna, or something could happen. I was hoping he didn't die somehow, but not this way. Not this way.
This is the dumbest fucking thing possible. So I almost forgot about this. I'm glad you brought it up.
He takes off, right? He jumps into a ship. There's no ship around, just one ship, right? There's one ship. He jumps in the ship,
and he does the same thing that fucking what's his face? I always forget the pilot's name.
Poe,
yeah, Poe Dameron. He does the same exact thing that Poe does in the beginning of the movie, where he shuts off the radio and he fucking ignores Leia's commands. He ignores Poe's commands, and then Poe's just like, "Oh, you gotta fucking listen to me."
It's set up for like a cool '80s action movie, sacrifice yourself.
Yeah,
fucking set up, and I was ready for it. I was like bracing myself for it to happen, like honestly. But I was like, I didn't want him to die. Would have been pretty cool. And I was like, but I don't see him getting out of this unless like Luke shows something crazy happens. Like, and the crazy thing that happened doesn't make any fucking sense. So he gets into a ship that was right next to him. There's no other ships anywhere near around him. It was just him and Rose next to the ship. He gets in the ship and I'm talking about as the crow flies, straight fucking line, beeline towards the fucking ship in this fast ship. And right before he hits it, out of nowhere, Rose comes,
swoops in.
Not just swoops in, but at a side angle, which means he's going in a straight line. There is no way a ship could have gone.
You can't just go straight for it.
Yeah, there's no way you could make a circle.
No, you have to go in a fucking slanted angle straight toward him.
Way that physically she could have caught up to him and did that physically. Like it's just why wouldn't she have gotten in that ship? Like it just doesn't make it. And then she goes, "We're not gonna win this war by killing the ones we hate, but by saving the ones we love." The thing he was trying to do at that exact moment. He was trying to save the people he loves in the cave.
But she didn't want that to happen.
The gun goes off and ends up blowing open the door, and now all these people are exposed. Like it's just that, but like that's what I'm saying. Like there's a difference between it's just Star Wars, let it be, but that is such bad writing, and it's like right there. Like
it's fucking lazy.
It's so lazy and poorly right. It's like shove it in your face, bad writing. Like explain that to me. Don't just like defend the movie. Somebody who likes the movie, explain how that makes fucking sense or why that should make sense without being like it's just a movie. Deal with it.
And that's what I was gonna say right now. There's the argument of it's a movie, shit can happen, but the same people that are saying that are shitting on other parts of it. So it's like you can't defend one part and then...
Because then what's a bad movie? Then what's bad writing?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Then what is bad writing? Because explain to me what's bad writing if that's not bad writing.
Personally, like, my thing is like, okay, if you're just going to throw outlandish shit at me the whole fucking movie and you're aware that it just doesn't make sense, that's fine. Be aware of it.
Be aware of it.
But when you're going for something cohesive and
heartfelt and
exactly.
Like, you're going for this line and then they kiss and then she kisses him, like, come on, dude. As the beam blows up, their friends behind them, you're saying he was literally doing the thing you're doing. You just think you're cooler than him. Like what?
I hated that scene, dude. Fucking hate that scene.
And you can't explain it.
It doesn't make sense physically. It doesn't make sense. Like her train of thought doesn't make fucking sense. None of it does.
And then from then on out, I don't really have. As everybody else has problems with the way Luke goes out. And
then what about Snoke?
I wasn't happy. Oh God! Oh fuck! I forgot. I went over. Was it you that I showed in the seat in the throne room that even the choreography in the fight scene isn't good? I think
Maybe.
did I show you that there's like
I've seen it in the movie.
I think I can show because like that was my favorite part watching the movie was obviously the throne room fight scene. I know I just passed over the Snoke thing, but that
No, that's fine.
That was such terrible. God, I remember it was so anticlimactic while I watched it.
No, it was. It was like
anticlimactic.
You thought some cool shit was about to happen. It was like you're ready for like a crazy fight between like fucking Snoke and Kylo, and then boom, over. It's just
immediately disappointed in the theater, being like,
no, yeah, that's exactly, dude. I remember watching the theater. My theater was fucking full. It was opening night. Everyone was like getting so pumped. We were like, fuck yeah, good ass fight scene right now. This is what we've been waiting the whole movie for, and then just dead silent. Everyone was just like, what the fuck just happened?
That didn't make any sense either. It's like I could see everything in his mind. Then you don't see him turning the lightsaber.
Dude, not just that. Like it's that immediate moment of like, what the fuck are you gonna do with the rest of not only the rest of this movie but the next movie?
Yeah, you felt it immediately.
It's immediately just like, what are you gonna? How do you continue?
And
you know what? And you know what, dude? You even think like after that happens, it's like, oh, you know what? They have a plan. Something's gonna happen. And then nothing fucking happens. Not just for the rest of that movie, the movie after it too. Nothing happens. What? And it's exactly, that's what makes me so fucking disappointed, because I had that feeling in Last Jedi right when that happened. I was like, what the fuck is going to happen? But, you know, I tried to hold out hope, and exactly what I thought was going to happen happened in the next movie. Nothing.
I initially gave that fight scene.
So fucking irritating.
Initially gave that fight scene in the throne room a 10 out of 10, because, like, it was really exciting in the theater. Oh, dude, the first time I watched that fight, dude, I loved it. The throne room where they're teamed up and they rip on all the guards. Dude, that was an awesome fight scene.
Well, that's cool, but do you give it a 10 out of 10 even including the Snoke death?
No. I'm talking about the fight. Literally the
just
fight.
The fight.
Just the fight.
Okay.
The physical fight. The choreography. Fine. But I gave it a 10 out of 10 first watching. Watch it again on slow motion or when it's edited or
I didn't watch it on slow motion, but I do remember thinking that it wasn't as cool as the first time I saw it when I rewatched the other day.
Watch it with commentary over it. Dude, it's very poorly done. There's parts where blades disappear, like.
But you know, if you never, how about this though? This is just a theory. Like, it doesn't have to be like how you feel about it. But like, if you never watched that, do you think if you rewatched the movie again, like without watching the choreography, do you think you would have still enjoyed it? Like never watching any of the choreography or anything, just watching it as a movie and not knowing
the first
what
time?
you know now. No, just like rewatching it.
If I watched it a second time, I probably would have noticed some of it.
Okay,
I would have noticed some of it because I already know it's coming, so I wouldn't. Because like I've
no,
only
but
said
without that
knowledge,
not knowing it was coming. Like if you just watch the movie again just as a movie and you never researched it or anything,
I would still like it again. Yeah,
you'd probably still like it. Because you wouldn't notice.
See,
so that just might just be a thing. That might just be a thing then, because I don't know. Like if you research into it, yeah, you're gonna learn some shit that you might not have noticed before. But I feel like if you're just watching it as a movie and it looks good multiple times, that's not as big of an issue in my
that's the whole
mind.
thing is it's one of those things like you only catch if you're watching it in slow motion or if you're paying attention for it. It's only, but once you see
it's still
it,
a cool looking scene.
But once you see it, you can't be unseen too.
Oh, really?
It's that type of stuff where it's like, the guards are swinging and
I still feel like that's not
Daisy Ridley doesn't duck in time, and so they move the blade. Like it's very obvious you were gonna get a kill shot, and then you move the blade out of the way and then go back down. There's also a scene where they did the choreography so bad that she would have been stabbed with a lightsaber or like one of the blades from them, and so they just get rid of the blade completely. Like they literally just get rid of the blade. So it's like it goes from being a full lightsaber, goes behind her, and now it's like there's no blade on the end of it. Like
I do see how that's kind of annoying, but honestly, I will defend that more than I will defend some other stuff, because if it still looks good and you don't notice watching it unless it's slow motion, I don't think that's that bad, because that's just you editing it good enough for it to look good and be quality.
How many I have horror movies, I have action. There's so many movies I have now in my life that once you see it, you will never unsee it ever again.
Well, you know what? That theory doesn't always work though, because Texas Chainsaw Massacre, very first, Tobe Hooper, 1974, 74. Does that sound right? Sounds right. Yeah. I think that's wrong. I think it's 73.
Anyways,
I'm so bad with dates.
What's the scene?
The hook scene. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. The hook scene, like the hook does not go into that girl, and I know that. I've seen a slow-mo of that. I've seen exactly how it's done. Every time I see that scene, though, Still gets to me.
No, but that's not that's not what I'm
gets
saying.
to me.
I'm saying once you see it, because you don't see that. I'm saying like there's movies you ever see where you see the boom mic accidentally come in the scene, or you see a cameraman in the background. Once you see it, you can't unsee it.
You can't unsee it.
Yeah,
Okay,
you can't. Like it's like a glare. It's like when you're watching a TV and you see glare, and then you can't. You're like, oh, it's always there. That's how I feel about that fight scene. Is like, oh yeah, I wish I would have never seen the commentary on it, because it's not. Even though it has a cool emotion to it. And especially caught up in the moment the first time was great, but...
Well, then I'm going to go ahead and solve this issue right now. Guys, don't watch the commentary and you'll still enjoy that part, but you still won't like the rest of the movie, so I mean, figure that out.
You can talk about Cant Be Unseen really quick, how terrible of a fucking whole scene, a good 30 minutes of the movie, unnecessary. Doesn't need to be in there, not even a little bit. It's wasted. They don't do anything with what they actually do there. They go there for no fucking reason. It felt like... You know what's funny, too, is like... Not only it felt while they were going to the fucking planet and going on their little adventure, like it felt like it was for no reason, and guess what? It turned out to be for no reason in the very end at all.
You know what, man? You know what's really funny? I actually forgot about this until right now, but I'm really glad that I did rewatch The Last Jedi a few days ago before we started talking about it. This is just ironic, too. We just decided we were going to talk about this like 5 minutes before we started recording.
Yeah.
I fell asleep about 4 times in theaters watching The Last Jedi.
Really?
I was fucking bored.
How many times did you watch it? Twice?
No, I watched it in theaters once. That's
once?
the only... Well, yeah, because I watched...
Now Rise of Skywalker, you're not going to watch that twice?
I might.
I might go watch it in theaters still. I might wait till it's
available. If you go and see it in theaters, I'd probably go with you just to watch it again. I do want to watch it again just because of how strongly I felt about not liking it and how strongly everyone else in the theater with me
maybe we can go to like an Alamo or something. We can make it like fun. We can go get drunk during and make it worth it.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, I didn't really want to talk that much about Last Jedi, but I had a lot to say about it. Yeah, I just had to, I could use a therapy session on that one for sure.
What's the rate?
Ooh, as a movie, because of the visual and audio, I at least give it a 4 as a movie.
You got to give it at least a 3 or 4.
I give it a 4
just for the fact that it's made and it's cohesive in the sense of not story, but
I'll have to watch it again to see if there's any parts I really enjoy out of it, which I can't think of any on the top of my head. There
wasn't much that I liked. You know what, dude? Even though nothing made sense in the beginning, I did like, when the remote's falling and shit. It's a really it's a little bit of a tear-jerking scene. It's a good scene, but
the remote.
Yeah, when the girl explodes in there.
But the rest fucks with me too much.
Yeah, the rest of it's too annoying though for that. Like that scene would have actually been kind of cool.
Did you watch it where it falls way past her and she reaches down and grabs it?
Oh, that pissed me off in theaters because it falls. It's like falling so far past her and her arm like extends. Like she has like a triple arm to grab the fucking remote.
That bugged me. I remember that bugged me. I remember that, and the gravity took me out of it first. But it was like
and
it's
those
still
are
Star Wars. So I was like, huh, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah,
I shook it off like immediately.
I did the same thing, dude. And it's so stupid. Because I was in like the first 5 minutes of the movie. It's the first 5 minutes of the movie, and it's like it's already just like what? What? What are you doing?
It didn't make sense. I just realized that it doesn't even make sense why they're there running. It just says you just get the exposition like they're on the run.
They're just there.
They're just there.
Oh,
that was such a bad idea.
So you said as a movie for what? As a Star Wars movie?
2.
It's fair.
2.
It's fair. Attack of the Clones or The Last Jedi?
I'm undecided. I'll have to watch them. I haven't watched either one of them in so long.
Honestly, I'll watch Attack. I mean, I'll watch. No. Sorry, don't.
I'll have to watch.
This is not on. That was not on the record. Ignore that. I will watch The Last Jedi before I watch Attack of the Clones again.
I'll have to watch them again. I haven't seen Attack of the Clones in so long, and Last Jedi. I've probably seen them about that. It's probably been about 2 years since I've seen either one of them. So maybe about time. Because I watched Revenge of the Sith not that long ago. I think I watched Phantom Menace not that long ago. I watched the original trilogy not that long. I watch them at least once a year. I think.
Yeah. As a movie, I'd probably give The Last Jedi a 5. As a movie, Star Wars movie. Yeah, 2. 2. You can't go higher on that.
No. And I want to give it more points. And I know that
the only reason I'm even going 2 is because of Attack of the Clones is a 1.
That's
funny
the
only reason.
It's funny is I actually personally know a few people. I haven't talked to them in real life. I've only talked to them online. I haven't seen them in real life in a long time. But I do know a few people who adamantly love The Last Jedi, where it's like they're obnoxious about it. But I don't argue with what people like. You know what I mean? But they're like,
no, yeah, you can like whatever you want, but I'm just gonna look at you differently.
But they do it on. It almost feels like they do it on purpose.
No, a lot of people do. Like they just want to be the person that likes it.
Exactly.
Like me with Spider-Man 3.
Which is
just kidding. I genuinely love that movie,
and I think they do too. But the thing is too, like
a lot of the times I said that because a lot of times people assume that that's the reason why, but sometimes people just genuinely love movies. Like every time I tell someone I love Spider-Man 3, they're like, "Oh, you're just being an asshole." I'm like, "No, like that movie has nostalgia for me. I genuinely love it."
But
it's like my fucking favorite.
At the same time, though, you're honest about it. Like even though you like know like it's like that Topher Grace's acting is abysmal. He's not the right casting, but you appreciate it because of that. The people who like The Last Jedi, you can't have honest conversations about like the bad parts of it. You know what I mean? Like I'm okay with liking bad movies if you like something that's there's a lot of crappy movies that I enjoy and that I will defend to the day I die.
Back in me.
There's a lot of bad movies in the world that I could defend to the day I die and I'll watch. But I'm very aware. But the people who genuinely defend Last Jedi are like ignorant to like the things that are happening on the screen.
I think your friends you said that genuinely like Last Jedi, are they Star Wars fans or are they just like, are they new Star Wars fans?
No.
Oh, they're like just
hardcore.
Oh,
okay. Legends. Like they know like legends. Like they're about the books and stuff.
That's very interesting.
Very interesting. But they like Last Jedi as like their favorite. They're that contagious.
Their favorite?
Their favorite.
That's too much.
Exactly.
Like over the original trilogy?
Their favorite.
That's just rude.
Their favorite. I have and so
okay. You know what? We should probably finish this Last Jedi talk.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm over it. I didn't want to talk that much about
I think we're already spending way too much time on this, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, we gave the ratings. Okay, so now we get to talk about the last of the bunch. Like I said, once again, I have yet to see this movie. I've watched every spoiler about it. I've watched two reviews. I've watched 2 reviews about it that are longer than the movie itself. I'm glad I didn't go see it opening weekend, not because I didn't want to give him my money, but because I didn't want to give him my money. That's the only way you could vote, right? I mean, it's my money. It's my choice. Like I've seen every other Star Wars opening weekend. I don't have anything against Disney. I think Disney makes great products. I think they make cheesy products. I think they make good products. I think they offer a lot to the world. And so it has nothing against them, but it's my money. I want to show that, I wasn't wrong. I hate saying it that way, but for at least for my own sanity, I wish I didn't see Last Jedi. I wish I could have skipped that, and I probably would have liked going. I probably would have been happy going to Rise of Skywalker if I didn't see Last Jedi. Is how I genuinely feel. And so I haven't seen it yet. I feel good about not seeing it too.
It's weird. It's only been like 5 days since I've seen it, and I'm starting. I actually I talked to you about it a lot the day after I saw it, and I told you like every single fucking issue I had with the movie. I can barely even remember it now.
It's just too much. It's too much packed into one movie, dude. It's just too much happening. Your brain isn't designed to take in such a grandiose story like that. It's so many plot points. It was literally a 12-hour video game packed in the movie. And yeah, I guess I haven't seen it, but every spoiler that came out was exactly what all the reviews said, what Caleb said about it, what my friends who have seen it have said about it. It's all there. I feel like I've seen the movie even though I haven't seen it, and I'm excited to watch the visuals. I'm excited to see some of my favorite characters come back and experience it, but what a waste, man. I'm happier not seeing it right now. I can't wait to see it, but I'm actually happy I haven't seen it yet. I'm glad I didn't rush out to go see it right away. I'd rather be in a little bit of suspense while I still can, and I guess I'm not ready for the story to be over. It's the Skywalker story. It doesn't feel like it's the right ending for it, and I'm not ready. I don't know. I'm just not.
I was looking for our text on it, but then I just remembered we were on the phone. I called you like in the morning. We were fucking talking about it for like 30 minutes. Fuck. Do you remember how the movie starts based off of your spoilers? Because I'm having trouble remembering how it even starts.
Kylo Ren's going. He's looking for the part. He's on the red planet looking for the artifacts. He's ripping through a bunch of troops looking for the artifacts. Yep. I haven't seen the movie and I know the parts more accurately. That's so funny.
I don't remember because even as you fucking say that right now, it's so uneventful. I
So he's ripping through a bunch of people trying to find the parts to get the holocron to find, and right away he goes to Exegol. He ends up getting led to Exegol, where the Emperor reveals that he's the one that's been fucking with him the whole time, and that the person he needs to find is Rey, and because she has all the answers that they need to get. Right? Is that pretty much how it goes far?
Yeah, pretty much.
And then we cut to. Do you remember anything after that? I'm trying to think of it. It goes right to Rey.
If I remember, it goes right to Rey after that.
She's in training.
Yeah, and she's just acting poorly, and all of a sudden, like she's acting like she doesn't know what she's doing, but she seems like she totally does. And then the whole movie's just like, oh, what's going on with me? And then stuff is going on with me.
Yeah.
Okay, there's the whole fucking Chewbacca kidnapping thing.
That's not yet. That's towards the middle. So that
wasn't even that toward the middle. That was like fucking like 30 minutes in, honestly. Yeah. That was pretty close to the beginning of the movie, honestly.
Well, that's even after they go find their first like 3 or 4 artifacts, though. That's after they find the first like 2 artifacts that they're supposed to get.
None of that took that long.
No, it doesn't. No, that's the whole point of it. So they find out that they have to find these artifacts. Who do they find out that they need to find the artifacts from? Somebody tells them that they need to find the artifacts. Oh, it's a new droid, right? Don't they come across a new droid that tells them they need to find the artifacts or something like that?
Yeah, was that the fucking...
And then Poe goes, oh, I got this new way of light travel where we could skip to a bunch of planets real fast. So we're going to do this scheme where we skip to a bunch of planets to get away from them because they're chasing after us.
Yeah, because he's driving the Millennium Falcon like shit.
Yeah, and so they're doing this new skip jump thing where they could just go to any planet they want super fast. And then they get the new artifact, and he goes and sees Zori Bliss, and they get that artifact. And then they go and she gets separated, and they get kidnapped Chewie, and she goes.
Finn's just crying the whole movie.
Yeah, like, Rey, and you know what's something
he's
interesting
just screaming about Rey the whole fucking movie.
Yeah, another spoiler though. You know what's something interesting? You know when he goes, Rey, I need to tell you something, and then they fall through a hole.
Yeah.
So everybody thought it was gonna be that he was in love with her or whatever. That was the theory. What it really was gonna be is that she was gonna let him know that he's actually Force sensitive, that he actually feels the Force. So, yeah, I like it. I like it. No, I like it. I like it. I like it. I'm happy with that. That's because
Does that make sense though?
Yeah, because he's definitely Force sensitive. It's implied from the very first episode. Because
a little bit,
Kylo Ren senses him, and he's able to wield the lightsaber a certain way, and he's always able to hold his own against. And there's certain scenes where he notices things that he should, like when
I personally never thought that Finn was that strong of a character. Honestly,
he had potential like crazy.
I think he had potential, but I don't think that he ever.
In Last Jedi. They destroy him in Last Jedi. They tear him apart as a character in Last Jedi. Yeah. His setup for Force Awakens, his setup's great. He could have done so much with that character.
Well, yeah, but that goes back to everything. Everything was set up great in Force Awakens.
But exceptionally great. We never got to see a stormtrooper that turns and fights in rebellion. Like, and you know what's funny is now you're seeing it left and right. In The Mandalorian, it's like crazy. There's so many like about who's on which side, and they're milking that story of a stormtrooper or of a shock trooper turning and fighting for the other side and actually rebelling. And I think that's kind of implied in this Rise of Skywalker, right? There's other people, like, isn't that the whole Jannah, right? Jannah, the new character that might be Lando's daughter, one of the new characters. Jannah, she's a turned stormtrooper. She took a whole like troop of stormtroopers, right? That didn't want to fight. And but anyways, I like that. I like that. That's not very well explained, but that was gonna be the thing that Finn was gonna tell Rey, that he was gonna like talk to her about, like him being Force sensitive, like.
Pretty much toward the beginning of the movie, I had a lot of issues, not ones that I like felt that strongly to bring up. But
how far into the movie were you like, oh no, like when did that happen?
Okay, I had some issues before, but the very first time when I was just like, this isn't right. Okay, it was when they were leaving with the ship after they took Chewbacca. Rey is like fucking fighting with Kylo Ren. Fucking about the ship. They're both trying to like fucking hold it back with the Force, pull it back, and he's
just like fucking with her, right? He's
just like fucking with her. She's kind of just like, oh, and she's literally just making like, she's a terrible actress. She's just making like stupid little fucking faces and stuff. Like, I didn't even have any feeling for her. I didn't have any feeling for her whatsoever when she was trying to like pull that fucking ship back, and then all of a sudden she shoots out some fucking Palpatine electricity, and it's like immediately.
That's really
yeah, dude, a bunch of people were like, when the Palpatine reveal came out, they were like, "Oh, Sidious is back." I was like, I was like, okay, it's kind of a reveal that he's back, but like there was that, and then there was her Force lightning, and then when they were like, "You're Palpatine's daughter," yeah, no fucking shit, you use Force lightning in like the first fucking 25 minutes of the movie. Like that was fucking obvious.
And then Chewie's not even dead. This next scene, he's just back.
It took about 5 minutes. Like, dude.
And he's just back. He didn't even explain.
Dude, I was talking to fucking like Bree from fucking my co-host from Horse Soup, and she was like, "Oh, dude, when Chewie died, like I got so sad for a second." I was like, "You believe that? Because that wasn't believable at all." Like the reason it wasn't believable, okay, she fucking hits the ship with the Force lightning. It blows the fuck up. It's destroyed. So it's like, you think for a second, Chewie's dead. You go over like Poe Dameron and everyone, and they're just like, "Oh, we gotta go now." They don't even like there is no feeling toward it whatsoever. There's no like sadness, no anything, and Rey's just like, "No, we gotta help." And they're just like, "No, we gotta go," and they just leave, and that's it. And I was like, immediately, it was just so fucking obvious. At least to me, it was so obvious. I was like, dude, Chewie's not dead. Like they wouldn't kill him. They wouldn't kill off a character that's been around for fucking ever. Just like that. Like that simple.
Well, they were gonna do a 3PO, but they were like, nope, we have his memory still. They go to wipe.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Same shit.
They were literally like, "Oh, gotta go to wipe your memory," and then like right before they do, he's just like, "Oh wait, I have an idea that won't wipe my memory." Boop, wipe his memory. Oh wait, his memory's back.
Yeah, it's
that's I almost completely forgot. That's another that my issue on that started with Chewbacca, and it kept going throughout the whole movie where they kept like doing like drastic things where it was like story changing, and it was like, and then they just took it right back. It was like a fucking anime that won't stop taking kills back because they don't want to kill off their main characters. Bleach. Like you just fucking kill someone, bring it back, kill someone, bring it back. Like they did that for a while in Naruto too, but then they finally like they killed Neji. Like sorry if that's a spoiler for anyone that hasn't finished Naruto. You know what, Naruto Shippuden's been out for so long now, if that's on you at this point. Yeah, like they finally did that in fucking Naruto where they fucking killed Neji, and I was just like, but you know what? Even in Naruto, that pissed me off because like they kept killing characters and then bringing it back and killing them, bringing it back, and then they killed Neji, and then they didn't like really focus on him that much, and it seemed like he was gonna come back, and then he never came back.
The main theme is,
so I guess I'm glad that
the main bad guy is somebody they killed and brought back for no reason with no explanation whatsoever. So, you know what? Somebody came up with a really interesting theory that kind of makes sense. That
you know what? And another thing, they didn't even explain how Palpatine's back in the movie. No. Like, I'm fine with it. I'm not too mad about that personally, but as it goes, why wouldn't you explain that? Like, he's just back?
Listen to this nonsense theory that doesn't make sense. I've heard some
theories, but they all don't make sense.
This one doesn't make sense, but it actually makes sense. So the theory is...
Okay.
So listen, just let me fucking say it.
No. Before you say that, a lot of them, they all make sense if you try hard to make it make sense.
This one, you don't have to try hard to.
No? Okay.
No. Okay, so the theory is since Palpatine... The real Palpatine has always been on Exegol for the last...
I think I've heard this theory.
Where he's always been on Exegol for the last 1,000 years. The Palpatine that you saw in all the movies was a clone of Palpatine, and he was puppeteering the clone from far away, and he's always been on Exegol for like the last thousands and thousands of years, always creating more and more Jedi and more Sith, like from
That's the exact theory I heard.
And that you can work with that. I don't buy it. I don't like it. It's a post-written theory that you could write. It's one of those theories that you...
It's a Richard Kelly theory.
I forgot that was the other part of that.
This.
I forgot that was the other part of the argument with Jordan. He wouldn't let me call fucking Donnie Darko a superhero movie, though he's never seen the movie or knows anything about it.
Oh, that's so fucking funny. Yeah, it's just I don't like the whole Palpatine thing either. Like they didn't explain him; they were just like, "Oh, well, you're back." That pissed me off every fucking time. They killed so many people in this and just brought them back, and it pisses me off if you do that once or twice. I feel like I don't know. For me, 2 times in a movie is max, and even that's pushing it.
My biggest, I don't know if you could tell when plot holes take you out of the movie, but my biggest gripe, because I'm a huge fan of the Goonies, and they do a Goonies thing in this movie that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Wait, what was the Goonies thing?
So they get this dagger. They get this ancient.
Yeah, oh my fucking god!
It's an ancient Sith dagger with ancient Sith writing on it that magically matches up with the the Death Star, which has been only down for about 27 years, 30 years. It's only been down, but there's this ancient Sith dagger that. And by the way, when the Death Star blew up at the end of the Jedi, it literally blew up completely into shattered.
Oh yeah, there was nothing.
Pieces. There's nothing left. Nothing. And supposedly it landed on the forest planet of Endor, and like was. I like the visuals of it with the scorched earth and like the you could tell it looks like a cool giant space planet landed on another planet. That's like the visual, but no, it exploded into tiny pieces. The throne the throne room power works to the throne room still for some reason. Like there's still power to the throne, and it just very poor writing.
And that's a segue into my other point that they scrambled to throw shit into this movie. They scrambled to throw everything in this movie that was just all fucking off factors, just like, oh, look at this. Oh, it's cool. What do you think about that? Okay, on to the next thing. There were so many plot points that they brought into the movie and then just threw away, like, immediately, like, within, like, a scene or two.
Like Lando, like everybody's favorite character who does nothing.
Yeah, he did fucking nothing, like, at all.
Just shows up and be a cool old man.
That was really it. It was another, and that was the thing that they did in Force Awakens that annoyed me. They just brought characters and just like, oh, look, there you go. I mean, they did more than Lando, but it was still just like, it was that thing like, oh, look, it's Lando. Okay, see you later, Lando.
How fucking C-3PO right before they wipe his memory, he's like, I'm just looking at my friends for one last time. Like, none of these people are your friends. You don't know any of these people. You met them like this year and they all hate you.
Yeah, but they've just been treating you like shit. Like, at least you had some rapport with your other friends.
Yeah, dude.
They hated you for a while, but then you guys got cool with each other, so...
So I don't know, man. I'm excited to watch it, but I'm mad that this is how it ends for me.
That's my biggest issue too. A lot of people are saying like, okay, it was like pretty cool, it was entertaining and stuff, but I feel like what a lot of people aren't realizing, this is the end of this saga. So if you're gonna start this saga, set it up to be something that's really cool, something that we haven't had Star Wars in fucking years. That's fine. We want to see more Star Wars. Yeah, of course. I don't want to see Star Wars when it's bad. I don't want 3 movies to come out and for me to feel disappointed at the end of the saga.
I'm almost done with Jedi Fallen Order. Great. It's a little cheesy, but it's a great video game, dude. I haven't played it, and it's a great story in the Star Wars universe. And The Mandalorian, great story in the Star Wars universe. Like they can still do it. Like,
have you noticed that a lot of people I've noticed that a lot of people that really genuinely enjoy the new trilogy, really genuinely hate the prequels.
Interesting.
It's just something I've noticed in a lot of people that I talk to lately. They're just like, no, I can't stand the prequels. And you know what?
They probably don't even like the originals either, though.
No, they do. Oh. They like the originals. They don't like the prequels, but they love the new ones. And I'm like, I don't really get that.
I would love to talk to that person. But here's the thing is, though, I want to have real conversations where we could, like, I'm not trying to attack you. I'm just trying to criticize.
A lot of those people don't have real conversations to say about it. They're just like, no, I really like it. And I'm like, I'm not trying to, like, yeah, I'm shitting on you, but it's more like I'm trying to get you to conversate with me and, like, tell me why you do and don't like it.
Because I want to see something in this that I don't see. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like,
oh, yeah, 100%.
I always have conversations so I can learn something about myself and about the other person and the story I'm trying to learn. Like, I wish maybe the reason
it kind of sucks that we're talking about this because we both feel pretty much the same way about
but
this
so does
series.
Anybody with fucking common sense too, though. That's the problem. It's like that's what I'm saying though, is too, not to be so like contestful, but like
next level opinions.
I want somebody to I almost want somebody to convince me it's a good movie, because I know there's somebody out there who could, like, there's somebody smarter out there.
No, if someone can give me like an actual, like, not even argument, but an actual debate about it and actually give me, like, genuine reasons as to why they like this movie. And you know what? Some of my friends did. I can't say that I didn't get any of that, because, like, I watched, the people that I watched Star Wars with, they're all huge Star Wars fans, like, huge Star Wars fans. Like, I can give you my homie, my buddy Mike. He does, like, he's done multiple episodes, and I think he has an episode on Rise of Skywalker coming out, like, this week or something, Soundflick Pod. And, I mean, he always has a lot to say. They're very into theories. They're very into the actual, like, fucking scripture of Star Wars and, like, fucking canon shit and all that. But a lot of them really enjoyed the movie. And you know what? I'm very excited for his episode to come out, because I want to see what he has to talk about with his other buddies, too, who are also pretty big Star Wars fans. So
how much
I want to see why they like it, because the thing is, like, guys, I'm telling you right now, I did not go into this movie thinking I wasn't going to like it. I was actually going into this movie not with high hopes, just regular hope, just a regular viewing experience. I was like, okay, I'm just going to see how this goes. And even when things were going bad, I was trying to excuse it and trying to go, no, it's okay. You know, I'm going to like this. This is the last of the series. It's going to pick up. But you know what? It was really long. It fucking dragged. A lot of the scenes did not need to be in there. There's a lot of just second-guessing shit where you can tell that they wanted to do something and then they changed it and just threw some other shit in just for an applause and a reaction. And I just don't like that. Like, Star Wars does not need to be like that. You need to try harder on it. There are so many movies that I will not tell you, like, just try harder. Like, you have to do this, you have to do that. Like, most movies, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Star Wars is different, and I don't like saying that, any series is different. But
something has to be different,
Something has to be.
Something has to be different. Something in the world has to be the standard of greatness. Something in the world just has to be, and we're giving you...
And if it's going to be anything, it's Star Wars.
Star Wars. We'll give you all the time and all the money in the world. And that's why I'm actually really happy I haven't seen this movie
yet. People that haven't seen Star Wars know what Star Wars is.
My biggest reason why I'm happy not seeing, and you reinstated it for me, is because, like, dude, Last Jedi got me. It tricked me. I watched the whole fucking movie thinking I liked it.
You watched it multiple times since you liked it, right? Oh, just once?
Last Jedi was just the one time in theaters. And I left the theaters confused, but I thought I liked it when I left it. But I thought I did.
That's how I felt too. I was more pissed just because of, like, the Snoke thing. I think if the Snoke thing didn't happen, I still would have been like, maybe?
But I was so confused. I got through the whole movie fine. I didn't know I didn't like it until a few days later. You know what I'm saying? Like, it had it sink in. I'd be like, no, that was awful. That was terrible. Like,
that's how I thought I was going to feel when I walked out of Rise of Skywalker. But then immediately when I walked out, I was like, no. And I was actually shocked because I was expecting at least half of my group to be like, no, this was bad. But they were all like, no, I liked it. And I was like, not a single one of them was on my side. And they were all having conversations. I just kind of shut up at that point because I was like, I'm just going to piss them off because I'm the only one saying I don't like it. And I was like, it's just, that's my opinion. I was like, I was respecting their opinion, and I liked hearing. I literally just sat around. I just listened to what they had to say about it because I was like, maybe I can force myself to like it after they talk about it. But I noticed that even when they were talking about it, they were like, oh, I really liked it. But then there was this, and then there was that, and there was that. So I was like,
they couldn't even admit it to themselves.
I think they were confused too, honestly. Like, I feel like maybe, I don't know this for sure. I might be speaking for them, but I don't know. I feel like maybe when they rewatch it or something, or when they start talking about it more, they'll be like,
that's the problem though. These movies don't have rewatch factors anymore. Not like the first six. The first six have so much rewatch factor.
And you know what? That's a big thing for me too when I'm watching this. And that's actually something I said to them too. And a few of them said like, oh, I'm not watching this like for that reason. But I'm like, in Star Wars, I am, because if it's a good movie, I want to watch these forever.
I'll read a book multiple times. I'll watch a movie multiple. I'll play a video game multiple times. It has a good story.
So many movies and shit multiple times. Like, I want them to have rewatchability. That's what I want the most out of a Star Wars movie, honestly.
And it sucks that we're not. There's no great moments that people talk. I mean, that when I was a kid, the Luke, I am your father got quoted all the fuck. Anytime you're around a fan.
Can you quote anything from the entire new trilogy?
There's nothing.
I don't think I can.
I didn't think about that. I'm just kidding. I can quote the Regals.
Me so horny.
Yeah, no, that's not it.
Oh, that's not it?
I hate you.
Yeah, dude. You know what? How do you feel about Kylo's character?
He holds it up. He holds up the movies. He holds up all three of them. He's the only solid character arc to the whole fucking.
I think he does.
Movies.
I still don't like his face. Can't get over it.
I think Adam Driver's a great actor. I think he can't. I don't think he does. I haven't seen him do anything poorly yet. I think he is the only one given he is literally the only character given a consistent character arc. Even Hux. Yeah. You want to talk about Hux's character change doesn't make any fucking sense whatsoever.
Dude. Third movie in and he's a traitor.
Doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
It makes no and
it goes against his character completely.
Not only was the traitor thing stupid, the reveal was the dumbest. They went for a funny thing with it, and like I said earlier, I'm okay with the funny. That was not funny.
Does he die? Does he die in it? Does he end up dying?
Yeah, he explodes if I remember right.
Yeah, I think he ends up dying.
I think he explodes and you like see his face and he's like, if I remember right. But it's
a terrible twist.
It's a very bad reveal and a very bad twist.
If you know anything about the comic book canon, that the new one that has come out within the last like 3 or 4 years, he's a fucking he's killed so many rebels. He's killed so many people. He's killed so many fucking people.
Well, he has in the movie too.
Has he?
In the first
yeah,
two,
yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So how are you on their side? But I think the whole thing was supposed to be that he like switched to his side because he was mad at Kylo Ren. Because that's literally what he said. They were like, "What are you gonna do?" He's like, "As long as you take out Kylo or some shit like that."
Even though I like Kylo Ren's arc, and I know even Vader.
And you know, when I watched The Last Jedi, I realized that I think they were trying to. I'm sorry for cutting you off. I think they I think they were trying to play off of Last Jedi when he was like. All like after Kylo killed Snoke, he pretty much took over, and Hux was just like, "Oh no, you can't be the leader," and Kylo was just like, "Fuck you," and kept like force pushing him into the wall and like choking him and like fucking kicking him while he was down and shit.
Because he just hates Kylo, right? That's his whole thing.
That was the whole. He was literally. I don't think he was a traitor from the beginning. I think they literally just turned him to a traitor because he was butthurt at Kylo. That was what it felt like to me. He was just throwing a pity party because he was mad at Kylo.
The way it was supposed to be written, though, is he's been a traitor the whole time. That's the way.
And I don't think if that's what they were going.
That's the way it's supposed to be written. Is he was always behind the scenes helping from the beginning.
And if that's what they were going for in the movie, it doesn't make sense because he was obviously never a traitor. If you were,
we found one plot hole. Weird.
Fucking good.
Weird. We found one. Who'd have thunk it?
So what else is stupid after that? It's like I feel bad that it's like not even looking for anything good, but I don't remember anything good. Okay, let's just skip ahead because I don't know how do I really want to pick this apart piece by piece? Not really. No. I'm pretty much already doing that because pretty much everything that pisses me off is piece by piece. But I'm just gonna go straight into Rey and Kylo Ren's kiss.
Okay, so one, it could be incest, from what we understand how the Force works. It could be accidental incest, which has happened before in Star Wars.
It was fine. It was fine.
It's fine.
To an extent.
As tradition, I get it. He likes writing poetically. He likes to callbacks. I see.
Sometimes incest happens.
But it doesn't make any fucking sense.
I never felt any romantic connection during the entire trilogy.
I forgot to mention that. That was like one of the few things I liked in Last Jedi. I kind of don't want to watch again and have it ruined for me. But I remember watching their Force connection scenes in Last Jedi and really enjoying it because they're really good acting scenes when they were having the conversations with each other and they're like.
I watched it again the other day and I really didn't like it. That's a part that I remembered liking, and then when I rewatched, I didn't like it.
Even with a little bit of humor, can you put on a shirt? Like it's so stupid, but it's like it's funny.
Okay, see that pissed me off. Yeah. That made me so fucking mad. And
I don't watch it because I liked it.
Ben without a shirt looked so disgusting too. He looked fucking terrible.
So, with his high pants.
Yeah, he looked fucking.
His mom yoga pants.
He looked terrible, and his body's just shaped so weird.
But
he's not menacing.
But don't they do that a lot? Which doesn't make sense. They're able to pull the Force through.
I remember him. Is back to Last Jedi. I remember him getting mad and breaking his mask inside the elevator.
Mm-hmm. Dude, by the way, that's a new Force thing that's one of the few Force powers I'm not okay with. Them being able to pull things through.
Look at your stupid mask.
Were they able to pull in the Rise of Skywalker? They're able to pull things through the Force. He can doesn't she throw him his lightsaber through the Force?
Oh my god!
And he grabs her necklace off through the Force?
He literally grabs her necklace off.
I don't care. I'm not cool with that.
And it goes back to him holding it, just like it's so fucking dumb.
We were just talking about being okay with adding new Force powers, but that doesn't make.
That's not a Force power I'm okay with. I guess we're being selective because beggars can't be choosers. But no, I don't like it. I really don't like it. The kiss makes me really mad. And you know what? That was another part where they kill Rey, and you know what? That could have been. That really, I stand by the fact that really, really could have been a good fucking scene if they actually killed Rey.
And then let Kylo Ren fucking have the fucking fucking sacrifice and
that would have been fucking awesome. I don't think it would have made the rest of the movie better, but I do think it would have had a much better ending to the trilogy because this was the third or fourth time this movie where they kill a character, and not only do they just kill a character, we find out that we find out that they can fucking revive people with the Force. Like you could just revive dead people now. That's a thing now. That's another Force power they just added in.
It's just Super Force Heal, Super Force Holy Heal. I don't know, Super Heal, Super Kiraga from fucking Super Force Heal Kiraga. I don't know how to explain it. It's just a better version of Force Heal, I guess. I don't know.
So you could just revive people from the dead. I don't like that at all.
Yeah, it's a lot of fluff. It's a lot of fluff.
A lot of fluff?
Yeah, a lot of forced fluff. A lot of forced fluff.
Yeah, so not only that, Kylo goes up to Rey's dead body. And you know what? When she's dead, she's fucking dead. And it's actually a really cool looking scene because she's sitting there, her fucking eyes are open like she's fucked. And you know what? Right now, I can't even remember how she died. How'd she die again? Do you remember?
Force. Doesn't he suck all the power from them both? And then she's super weak, and then he hits her one more time, and then he goes flying in the hole. And he's like, and you go in the hole.
Yeah, something like that.
And then, so she goes in the hole. He comes up and revives her, and then she hears all the voices of Jedi's past, right? And then she gets the power to reflect the lightning even stronger than before. Is that it? Oh, she gets two lightsabers. She gets two lightsabers and is able to double.
I hope you know how terrible this sounds just speaking it into the universe.
Isn't that how it worked, though? Isn't that literally how the worked? She goes from only having one lightsaber to all the Jedi talk to her, and then she gets two lightsabers, and then she uses that to do what Mace Windu did, but better.
You just remind me of the ending, too. But yeah, that's exactly what happens, and then she's pretty much dead. Kylo comes up to her. He's all sad. He fucking force revives her after she's stiff as a fucking board. And then she gets up, and it doesn't even feel like a romantic tension right before it happens, and then all of a sudden they make out. There's been no romantic tension like the entire fucking trilogy.
Disappears like a fart in the wind.
Yep, and then Kylo just disappears.
Yeah, never taught how to turn into a Force ghost. Never taught how to evaporate. He's just gone. Part of the dyad, so he's strong.
And then pretty much after that, Rey finds a yellow lightsaber.
No, she makes it. She makes it out of her. She makes it out of the tip of her old staff.
Yeah. That's what happens.
And technically, so what I hear, it's not yellow. It's not. Yellow is a common lightsaber. If you ever played the games or you know anything about the canon, it's a common Sentinel. It was always a Sentinel lightsaber. It was always about like a paladin, kind of like strength and healing and stuff like that. The theory is though that hers isn't yellow; it's gold.
That pisses me off even more.
I know. It's the dumbest thing. That's the theory.
And you
she
know
can't
what?
just be a yellow Sentinel, like something different than the other one. It's supposed to be gold, not yellow.
It's another off factor. It's another thing. They're just like, oh, we can. You know exactly what pisses me off about this? Disney was literally just like, hey, or Ryan Johnston or J.J. Abrams or fucking whatever. Whoever made this quote unquote creative decision was they're just like, hey, you know what? We can change the color of this lightsaber, have her pull it up, and fans will go crazy in the theater. And that's exactly what happened, and I was just sitting there just like, are you kidding me? I'm supposed to get fucking excited over this color after this different colored lightsaber after you just gave me a fucking piece of shit movie? That pissed me off. It felt like, it didn't just feel like...
random old lady in the middle of the desert?
No,
Who are you? I'm Rey Skywalker.
Oh, that was dumb too. This didn't just feel like a random fucking... Like, everything else in this movie just felt like a random plot hole that they put into this, or just like a random little item that they threw in just for an off factor. This didn't just feel like this, or like that. This felt like a giant fuck you to me at the end of a shitty movie.
How about the thousands of people that have just been sitting on Exegol with the Emperor? Were they in the ships underground? Were they in the? You know what I'm saying? No, I'm being serious.
You're right.
These people like? Have they just been building ships underground? Like, I'm gonna wait 30 years. You guys all have to like wait in these fucking underground bunkers for 30 years until I pull you out of the ground, which I have this immense power that I could pull thousands of ships out of the fucking ground, like out of nowhere. Like,
I don't want to talk about this movie anymore.
Okay. Oh, and what was the whole thing like? That the reason why they were stuck out there is like because they didn't have the coordinates to get there and leave, but the rebels show up and leave without a fucking problem. The rebels show up as backup with Lando, has no fucking. It took them an entire movie's worth of exposition, like finding hieroglyphs and fucking, and then Lando and his team just shows up out of fucking nowhere.
We're in a garage right now, and the roof's leaking, and I just got dripped on, and I got kind of pissed.
The roof is on water.
And yeah, pretty much my last issue with this is this movie was nearly 3 hours long and nothing happened at all. As a movie, I'm going to give this... As a movie, I'm going to give this a 2-star. Damn. As a Star Wars movie, I'm going to give this...
If you had to watch this or The Last Jedi, which would you watch? If you had to, somebody's going to make you watch it.
Dude, honestly?
This The Last Jedi or Attack of the Clones?
Fuck, dude. Attack of the Clones is always going to be on the bottom for me, no matter what. That's not going to change. Let me think. Let me put it all in perspective. I'd rather watch The Last Jedi.
Wow.
I honestly, genuinely think I would rather watch The Last Jedi before this, because you know what? At least if I remember right, I think it's a little bit shorter. It's a little bit shorter. And that's my main driving factor for this at this point. It's a little bit shorter, and you know what? I think there's a little bit less of people dying and then just coming right back, which honestly pisses me off so fucking much. And I think there's, even though it makes no fucking sense, it's fucking stupid, I think there's less things that are thrown in just for ooh ah.
Phasma doesn't come back in this one at all?
Dude, I'm so Phasma's dead.
That's what you said in the first one.
Phasma's dead. Oh, yeah, you're right. You're not wrong. And then, oh my, we went over that too. The fucking stupid little like 2-minute. I'm Phasma. I'm awesome. I'm gonna do great. And then you die to a fucking ex-stormtrooper. Okay.
I'm not gonna give it a rating. I haven't seen it yet. It's not fair to give it a rating.
You can't really rate it.
But
you did have a lot to say about it for someone who hasn't seen the movie, though.
No, I still have a lot to say about it for someone who hasn't seen the movie. But
I mean, you did guide me through and help me remember because now that you like refresh my memory, I remember every bit of it now, pretty much. But I was having trouble before, and it was because of how much I generally disliked it. I've been trying to move it out of my mind.
Give me any Did you like Bubba Freak? A lot of people like the little Bubba Freak character because he was like done really well. I guess they used a lot of really great realistic props for him. He's a little dude that helps C-3PO lose his memory. They said he was pretty fun. No, not. Do you have any?
I mean, he was cool, but he wasn't in the movie that long for me to care about him.
Okay, well, you seem to have liked the throne room fight from Jedi. Last Jedi. Is there nothing? There's nothing in the newest one that you're like, okay, it was cool to see. Like, even if they're off actors.
I like seeing Sidious again.
Okay.
I like seeing Sidious. I thought that was, even though he was thrown in, I don't like how they threw him in.
Why were they riding horses in space? Or are they in space? Or were they?
Oh wait! Oh, I forgot something. This isn't something I like. The Knights of Ren.
Did nothing.
The Knights of Ren were in the movie for about, I'd say, roughly between 7 and 10 minutes in total. Not all at once. All throughout different scenes. They did nothing. They stood around and they were menacing. And you know what, dude? Every single thing that my friend said when we walked out of the theaters that they said they liked about the movie, I feel like they came right back and they were like, oh, but I didn't like this about it. And I was like, you said you didn't like something about every single scene that you like, so do you really like this? I'm pretty sure it's just a theater effect, dude. It's just like you like seeing the new Star Wars movie in theaters, so you think you like it. But I don't know.
Have you ever been to a comedy show live?
I don't know if they're gonna rewatch a couple. Yeah, I don't.
It's such, but
it's different.
It's so
much better.
Harder.
Oh, it's so much better.
So much harder when you're there.
You can watch someone's comedy show like fucking on YouTube, and it's not that good, and then you see it in person, and it's fucking so much better. It's the theater experience. You know what? I feel like if we all went to see this movie at the drive-in opening night, it would have been a completely different reaction from everyone.
Because you're not experiencing it the same way.
Yeah, it's not the same experience because there's so many movies that I want to see in theater just because I'm like, it's going to be better than watching it at my house or something. And I really feel like that when this movie comes out on like DVD, I want to just get all the people that I watch in theaters with together and just sit down and watch and be like, all right, genuinely, don't try to be biased or anything. Tell me how you
care enough to watch it again, though. Like
that's the thing.
That's funny.
That's the thing. And you know what? If no one rewatches it and no one tells me how they feel, I'm gonna just be convinced that automatically you don't like it. Like you don't like. If you can't rewatch it, you don't like it.
And like I said, I'm all please defend this movie, but just do it logically. Have a conversation with me.
If anyone's listening to this, I know we don't have that many listeners right now, but hopefully we'll soon. If anyone's listening to this now or in the future, if there were things you like about this movie, please email us, floorpopcorn@yahoo.com. Let us know, because I do want to hear what people like about this. I do want a perspective on it, because personally, let me go back to your question. No, I have no pros for this movie. I don't have anything.
It's rough.
I don't have anything. I don't remember, because
visuals and music. That's it. Same thing.
Visuals and music
with every Star Wars.
Well, it's the same thing as that's not going to change though. That's not going to change. They're always going to have a budget, and they're always going to have somewhat competent directors. Maybe not story wise, but they're always going to have directors that are capable of making a good movie. But that's fucking it, dude.
Dude, Last Jedi is gorgeous. The Last Jedi is gorgeous.
Yeah, they're all good looking movies. And you know what? Rise of Skywalker was really good looking too, but I don't have any pros for it. And that makes me really sad to say, but I hated the acting from just about everyone in this movie. And the way they killed off Leia too. Dumb.
Oh, because she distracts fucking Kylo and gets him killed. She got her own son ganked. Fucking dummy.
The whole movie's dumb.
Yeah, she doesn't. She does it just to. She just surprise. That's it. She kills
things,
herself by surprising him, right?
Were there any things that sounded cool to you, like in your spoilers and stuff?
Just some of the visuals, some of the off factors you're saying.
Okay, so
like
it's nothing.
with the Emperor raising the 10,000 ships and hitting the. Even though it doesn't make sense.
I didn't go over that enough, dude. The fucking 10,000 Star Destroyers. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that all have Death Star beams on them.
And that's another thing that there's no explanation for. Why they destroy a planet too, just for nothing.
Here's the thing.
Like what?
Why would you wait if you have all this technology?
If you have all the, you could have owned the galaxy a long time, dude. Do you remember how
Snoke's? Why use any of this?
It takes away everything. Because do you remember how menacing a Star Destroyer was?
Why not make your son and daughter-in-law the Emperor? Why wait till Rey to make? Why wait till your granddaughter is born? Why not?
Do you remember how terrifying a Star Destroyer was in the original trilogy?
Yeah, the big
like it was like
cheese ship.
You saw one and you were like, oh my god, dude. 10,000 of them, that defies all Star Wars logic. Like, you just have 10,000 fucking Star...
Even if Death Star beams
on
them.
I think it was technically like 1,000, but even that. Dude, if you had...
10,000. I think it's supposed to be...
Was it 10,000? I know it was either 1,000 or 10,000.
I think it's supposed to be 10,000.
Yeah, like, even if you had 1,000, even if you had 15, that would be crazy. You have 10,000, like... When the movie, then that was how the movie opened up, if I remember right. And that was how the movie opened up. There was just like 10,000 stars.
By the way, when they had Luke and Leia, they couldn't get anybody to help them. But all of a sudden, Lando goes around and talks to everybody, and everybody's on Lando's side because he's the cool black dude. That's like literally. She
was like, "Let's put out a beacon. If Leia says something, they're all gonna come around." No one came around, and then all of a sudden, everyone's here.
We have to go to this planet that we can't get to and go fight the Emperor who has 10,000 Death Stars. Like,
and dude, the very beginning of. I forgot. You asked me earlier when I was off board of the movie. That's when I was off board. The first 2 minutes of the movie when I see no, that was a little later. That was like 20 minutes in or something probably. No, it was like the first few. I'm pretty sure the Star Destroyers was like one of the first things we see on screen. I think that was the first thing I saw on screen.
Doesn't make any sense because
I can't remember. But I just remember. I thought they were earlier. I could be wrong. I could be switching up this timeline, but. Whichever came first, either the Star Destroyers or the Chewbacca thing, whichever came first, that's when I was.
The Chewbacca thing comes before, like,
does it?
Because he doesn't. He doesn't pull it out till Rey's there. He doesn't pull him out. He pulls him out in front of Rey.
Okay, you might be right then. I can't remember. I thought it was the beginning, but I think I'm just mixing.
But it's not even underwater. They're underground. It's not even like in the water, right? Like,
Can we stop talking about this? I think everyone knows that I hate this movie enough by now.
Well, I'm excited to watch it. I don't know if I'll ever watch it, but I'm excited. I get to have. I'm glad that's not taken away from me. That I'd rather be interested in it than actually watch this fucking movie.
So since we've talked for a while, I think we can still go. I think the plan for this was to talk about like everything, but I think we pretty much focused on the new trilogy so much. Do you want to breeze through Solo and Rogue One, and then just give a quick rating on like the rest of the series, just so everyone has that.
Let's do
the newer ones first because we're already on the new ones. Let's do Rogue One or Solo. What do you want to do first?
Rogue One or Solo? Let's do Solo first. Real quick.
I don't have too much to say. I haven't rewatched it since I saw it in theaters, but it got a lot of backlash. I didn't mind it. I really liked the acting. There were a lot of cool scenes in it, too. There were a lot of really fucking good action-y scenes that I really enjoyed that I was like, oh, I could totally see Han Solo doing some shit like that. There were a few issues, just a few, like, dumb things, but overall, I like it more than Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker.
My problem with it is it was the movie nobody asked for, and that's the way I feel like it plays. Honestly, I feel like it plays like the movie nobody asked for. It's like, it has a bunch. You could tell me that everything in it is not canon. Or
I had fun
canon.
watching it.
I can go either way. Like, there's not enough in it to make me feel like I'm watching a young Han Solo, and that's just like the
my
truth.
main thing is that I had a lot of fun watching it, and I wasn't as pissed off as I was watching these movies.
Yeah, no, nothing in it made me mad. Like I said, it was the movie I didn't ask for. To me, it was like a TV movie. That's basically how I felt watching it. It's like a made for TV. That's actually the best way to put it. Is like if someone made a made for TV movie for Star Wars. And I kind of feel the same way about Rogue One.
I don't agree on that.
We'll wait a little. And But okay, so ranking Solo, I give Solo a 7. Also, I give Solo
As
a
a
7.
movie or Star Wars movie?
I both. It gets a 7 and 7 for me. I'm okay with that one.
I'd give it I'd give it the same. I can't. I'd like to give a rejudge on that later because I haven't seen it since it was in theaters and I haven't like rewatched it, so I can't give my full opinion on that. But I remember watching it and enjoying it. I don't have anything bad to say about it. Nothing that sticks out in my mind. But it's been a while since I've seen it.
It's a movie. If I had kids, I'd like watch. Like a lot of these movies are like I would like to watch with my nephews and nieces and kids. Like if younger generations, just to show them and just to see their take on these characters. It's not a character that I could tell was made for me. Like the young Han Solo was definitely for a younger generation, which I'm okay with. That's why I don't give it a bad rating at all. It wasn't for me, but I'm very well aware of that. And I enjoyed it for what it was. It was like a roller coaster ride. It was fine.
I personally loved Rogue One.
I liked it. I don't know why I was so bored through it. I think the story
10 out of 10 is a movie. 8 out of 10 is a Star Wars.
I give it an 8 as a movie, and I give it an 8 as a Star Wars too. It's
entertainment factor. I was so fucking like if that was just a random movie that just came out, I would have no fucking issues with it.
It reminded me so much of like the made-for-TV sci-fi movies I used to watch a lot as a kid. Very, very. I'm just a little jaded on it because it was so tropey. It was so predictable. It was so, but in a very good way though. I'm not complaining, but that's where it loses. That's where it loses points.
Raspberry or
I like
Ruby?
Raspberry more.
Okay.
That's where it loses points. So for me, it's just it's a little predictable, but not in a bad way. It's not predictable in a bad way. Same thing with the middle of Mandalorian.
Do you have enough time to talk for a second while I take a piss?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, go for it. Just
So
leave me on a good note.
I can't step outside to relieve the cloud. But Rogue One, it took me actually a while to watch Rogue One, and I know it's a lot of people's favorite. But when Caleb comes back, we'll be able to talk about this a little bit more. But the Darth Vader scene at the end, I mean, I could just jump to that. That to me though is a 10 for 10 moment in the Star Wars universe. Because everybody knows, that's Anakin Skywalker, and Anakin's my favorite, probably my favorite character. I know he wasn't portrayed the best by Hayden Christensen. A lot of people have a problem with his moody acting, but sometimes, that's characters are characters. I know a lot of people aren't happy with him the way he came across, but not you remember characters for the things they do, not the things they thought, and not the Darth Vader is a menacing force of the universe. And Anakin was a precursor to that, and he was very powerful. And especially if we delve into the mythos of like the Clone Wars, you could really see how powerful he was, and how powerful they made that character. And then, of course, when he gets in the fight with Obi-Wan, he loses limbs, he's defeated, he loses his wife, he's defeated spiritually. He only has the Emperor to guide him. And so, I mean, they did a really great job. At the end of Rogue One, explaining the way Darth Vader fought in the original trilogy, which is really appreciative, very, very appreciative. Caleb just came back, but I know he'll agree with me on this. And I think this is overlooked by a lot of people because the scene is so good. But they do this at the end of
Star Wars trilogy should have ended with the Sith taking over the galaxy. So next,
they do this at the end of the prequels, where they right when Padme is giving birth to the twins, they make all the ships look like they're from like the original trilogy. They make all the ships look like antiquated. And it's really cool that you're like, oh, I didn't know how they're going to tie this in. They actually made it look like the Death Star. They made Darth Vader's. And so at the end of Rogue One, they did a great job at showing Anakin, because when he did have to don the suit as Darth Vader, he had to change his fighting style. There's all this canon and non-canon stuff about how Anakin had to relearn how to use the Force, and with his crippled body and machine body, he went from using one form of lightsaber training and Force use to a completely different style. And they did a good job at portraying why he came across so clunky in the original trilogy. And Rogue One did an excellent job at showing a kind of brute force Darth Vader that we never got to really appreciate, and they did it so well.
Honestly,
and so
one of the fucking greatest scenes ever. It's
so
beautiful.
10 for 10 scene in cinema movie history, because that was the Darth Vader we all deserve to see. When that the dark hallway and that lightsaber clicks on, dude, you genuinely get the chills immediately.
Just you saying that gave me fucking chills right now. Like, honestly, and you know what? In preparation of, like, you know, everyone anticipating Rogue One, that is what everyone wanted to see. And you know what? I remember going into Rogue One being very scared that they were going to botch it and it wasn't going to be a good scene. But, dude, then it happened, and I was like,
it's flawless.
Holy
it's a flawless scene, dude.
It's everything I wanted and more.
Yep.
It's fucking amazing.
They showed him in that it's
the darkest we've ever seen Darth Vader on live screen, on live action cinema.
On live screen, and it's done so elegantly. It's very poetic. It's very... He just comes in with so much for it, and it's so believable. Like yes, that makes sense that he would have to move that way. That's why he's so clunky in some of the other movies. That's why
it's the Darth Vader that's always been hinted at, but we've never seen, and it's incredible. So really, the only question I have for you about Rogue One, because it's the only thing that I hear like very, very hit or miss. A lot of people don't like the CGI Leia in the end.
I'm fine with it.
You're fine with it? I really liked it. I really enjoyed it.
I'm fine with it.
I don't really have anything bad to say about Rogue One.
I don't have anything bad to say about any CGI in most movies, unless it's done like.
You were complaining about Mac and Me.
Fuck off.
I mean, that's beautiful.
It's What the fuck do you want? What the fuck do you want from some people? Like, she has to
Mac
look younger. No, I mean, I'm talking about the CGI. Like, I hate people who complain.
I wanted Leia looking like Mac and Me, just like the same thing. You know, hey, you're my only.
You complain about fucking CGI? You go get a fucking degree in fucking arts, and you go fucking try to learn how to computer program. And you try to figure out how to make
your only hope, but with Mac and Me.
You try to go make, like, that's why it's okay to be criticizing, but realize that you couldn't do that shit better. If you could do the shit better, complain all you want. But if you can't do that shit better, don't complain about stuff like that.
Paul Rudd was on Conan O'Brien, not. What did you say, Jimmy Fallon?
No, I think it was Jimmy Kimmel. I think
it's Jimmy Kimmel.
That's the Matt Damon joke.
Yeah, that's the Matt Damon joke. I remember looking at it after, and I was like, that's Conan O'Brien.
It's still funny as hell, though.
Very funny.
He does it to him like 6 different times in his career.
So that's we can move off of Rogue One. Yeah. So Solo, Rogue One. Do you want to start on original trilogy? Let's just give them ratings. We don't need to talk about. We could talk about. I think we should go through each trilogy in later episodes, or we should go through the original trilogy. Go through. I
wanted to rank them all, but okay. So rank the original trilogy
as a whole.
No, rank each one.
Each one.
Yeah, and just rank them. Don't give them 10 out of 10 rankings. Get like in order, like. The original trilogy, 1, 2, and 3. Your favorite of the original?
The original trilogy.
Just the original trilogy, 1, 2, and 3.
I'm gonna go Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, A New Hope.
A New Hope, okay.
Yeah.
I'm contentious. I actually like Return of the Jedi more than Empire Strikes Back.
Really?
First of all, like I said,
it's a nostalgia thing for me. I do think it's a better movie.
I think Empire is the better movie.
Okay, fair enough.
I think Empire is the better movie of the two. I like Return of the Jedi more. It was the first.
They're both great movies.
It was the first Star Wars I ever watched. I was like 5 years old, and there was Ewoks.
And a great ending to a trilogy.
Great ending. I got to see the hero win.
You're right, though. Ewoks are fucking awesome.
I was a little kid. I even liked the second Ewok movie. I remember there was an Endor movie. I liked it as a kid with Wicket and stuff. But I was a little kid, and I got to see the hero win. I didn't know anything about. I didn't know there was a Star Wars 1 and 2. I saw parts of Star Wars 1. I saw parts of Star Wars 2. But
as a kid, I was
Jedi from start to finish. As a kid,
I think the reason New Hope ranks at the bottom for me is because as a kid, I was so bored watching A New Hope. But then I remember like Empire Strikes Back would come on. I was like, whoa, what the fuck, dude? Like,
New Hope doesn't really hold. It
doesn't hold up as much. It's still
all.
awesome. It's still fucking awesome, but like it doesn't hold up after you see Empire.
Yeah, the Obi-Wan and Vader scene is so terrible. Where he just if you strike me down, but he's like one swing and he just disappears.
Yeah, he's just gone.
But there's one of the best parts in A New Hope is when they're when Han Solo's on the radio, he's like, "Oh, nothing. It's all okay here. Okay." Like the improv when he's dude, that shit is so good. It's so like. Comedy's always been in Star Wars, and that shit is so funny though. When he's like, "Oh, everything's okay." Like,
and how many parsecs?
12. See, they didn't need to explain that. They fucked up by trying to explain that in the fucking in the new movie.
fuck. But yeah,
so yeah, it goes. So it just
seeing Han Solo fight an abominable snowman just did it for me. Like that was in my childhood for fucking ever. Like it always stuck out of my mind. I was like, that's awesome.
That's another thing is too. Okay, so I have a problem. Everybody loves Hoth. I actually
you don't like Hoth?
The reason why I don't like Hoth, it was always my least favorite level in all the video games.
Okay,
and all the video games had a Hoth level where you had to do the same shit. You had to fly a plane around a fucking AT-AT's fucking legs, and you had to
all of them.
It was in like 3 different games. You had to do that, and it was just the most obnoxious fucking. Like, I just hated snow levels when I was a kid, and
I didn't like the snow levels, but in the movie, fucking awesome. I don't know why snow movies are just awesome. Like, and I also grew up around the same time that I was watching Empire Strikes Back all the time. I was watching Empire Strikes Back at like my house with my fucking father and shit, who I don't speak to, and then at my grandparents' house, my grandpa watched The fucking Thing all the time. John Carpenter's The Thing. So I was just like, I just fucking love snow movies at that point because I was like, I grew up on 2 very good movies that took place in the snow, and I was just like, oh, these are fucking awesome.
You know, it's funny you say that. You know what movie I used to get that confused with?
Huh?
Was the fucking the old Rudolph movie. You know how they have the it's the same abominable snowman. Am I wrong? It's the same Yeti. It's the same CGI claymation Yeti that they use for both movies.
Oh, that's funny.
I used to get those conflated when I was a kid. Like I was like, oh, it's the same Yeti.
So you said yours is Return of the Jedi, Empire, New Hope.
Even though I think Empire is the better movie, it is a better movie.
Do you want me to do the prequels first?
Or yeah, go prequels. Yeah.
Okay, this always pisses people off. It pisses everyone off when I tell them this. I don't fucking care.
You like Phantom more?
Phantom Menace is my top. I think I've been saying how much I hate Attack of the Clones the whole time, so I don't think I need to say it, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Phantom Menace, Revenge of the Sith, Attack of the Clones. Attack of the Clones is my least favorite Star Wars movie of all time. I will never like it. Solely for
then do your favorite Star Wars movie, including. If you like Rogue One the most, that's fine. But your favorite Star Wars movie and your least favorite Star Wars movie?
Out of everything.
Out of everything you've seen.
Wait, give me your prequel first.
Prequel, Revenge of the Sith,
Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones. Okay. So real quick, my reasoning for loving Phantom Menace, because I know I can't just say Phantom Menace is my favorite and then move on because people are gonna get pissed.
I'm okay with it. I'm cool with it.
Honestly, I think this whole episode in general is gonna piss a lot of people off
because we don't fit the normal, but we make sense in our opinions. Though I think
I hope so.
That's the whole point about Star Wars too. Like we are the perfect example of why it makes Star Wars so cool. Is like the real fandom. We don't care. Like it's you can
like what you want, but I have my reasons for not liking what I don't like. Like you can like whatever you like. It's fine. I have both of my best friends really like the movie. One of my best friends loves every new Star Wars movie that comes out, but I don't.
See, and this is the thing; it makes sense.
And there's a double standard.
Nobody says I love Attack of the Clones.
No,
nobody says that.
There's a double standard though, because every time I tell them I don't like when they tell me that they like the movie. It's like if I tell them that if someone told them they like it, they can go on, they can keep talking about like, oh, this and that and that. But then when they say they like the movie, and then I'm like, oh, I don't like it. It's no response. Like there's nothing to say about it, so I'm like, all right, that's fine. But I do genuinely want to have debates about it. I do want to talk about it and see why people like the things that I didn't like. But a lot of people aren't down for that discussion if they really like it, because they kind of just look at you like you're a dick. Like, oh, you're a dick. You just don't like that movie because you're a dick. I'm like, no, I have a lot of reasons why I don't like it. Yeah, but Phantom Menace, I love it because there's pod racing. I love young Anakin.
That's your favorite of all time. That's your first favorite?
No. I'm just listing off the reason why I like Phantom Menace before I go into my thing, because otherwise people will get pissed. You can't, dude. In the world of Star Wars, you cannot just say Phantom Menace is your favorite prequel because it's a lot of people's least. I know a lot of people that say that they like it less than Attack of the Clones, and I feel like that's literally that's just Jar Jar Binks haters just being dicks to be dicks. Because they're just like, oh, I hate Jar Jar Binks. I'm like, so that makes it. Just because you hate Jar Jar Binks, that makes that movie better than Attack of the Clones? That doesn't make sense.
The worst part about Phantom Menace is all the fucking Republic and the stuff that doesn't make sense that they force on you. Like, you're supposed to know about the Galactic Republic.
But you know what, dude? They explain fucking midichlorians. They explain, fucking Qui-Gon. Dude, we have Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon Jinn, who is a fucking great mentor, great teacher.
If you rewatch it, too, what's crazy about that?
Ewan McGregor is fucking awesome.
If you rewatch it, though, you realize where everything fucks up is Yoda fucked up by letting Obi-Wan, like, I never realized this now watching it back. Obi-Wan has no business training Anakin.
No, he has no idea what he's doing. Because he was just barely being trained by Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah, he just not only if Qui-Gon or Yoda would have trained Anakin, he would have been fine, dude.
I don't think Obi-Wan would have even killed him if Qui-Gon didn't die. He wouldn't. Well, he wouldn't
No,
have.
he tapped into the dark side a little bit.
Yeah.
He tapped into the dark side a little bit. He restrained himself. Like, that was the whole point. Because that's where Qui-Gon's completely different. Like, I think Qui-Gon earlier in his years, he tapped into the dark side a little bit, and then he was like, never again. And so that's what he's doing. He's like meditating to re-tap into the light side. I think that's the whole point of that, is Obi-Wan has to tap into the dark side to beat Darth Maul just a little bit. He uses like anger and revenge instead, just a little bit. Like, which that's the whole like idea of a Jedi, because you can never be completely like a pure Jedi. There's no such thing. Like, with the Sith, you could be completely dark and evil Sith, but you can never be just a pure Jedi. There's no such thing. Like,
Roland has hiccups.
I ate 2 pizzas and drank a lot of White Claw.
So overall, Phantom Menace has pod racing, young Anakin, Ewan McGregor, fucking Liam Neeson, and
I think Darth Maul's cool as fuck.
Darth Maul.
What anybody says.
Dude, Darth Maul is one of my favorite fucking Sith of all time.
Yep.
Of all fucking time. I love Darth Maul, and I like his death. I'm glad it's not actually, like, technically, if you guys know, like, some of the mythos, it's not canon. He survives after
Clone
that.
Wars immediately.
Yeah, he does survive after
and
that.
It's real
Clone
canon.
Wars.
It's real
it's real canon.
canon.
Anything that happens in Clone Wars, that's canon. So, I fucking love Darth Maul. I do wish I saw more of him live action. I think it would have been really cool. But
I liked him the first time I saw it in Solo, but then I like looking back, it's like, oh, that was a cheap shot. You didn't need to do that.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
totally. And they having him talk like that. Yeah, like
I still kind of liked it just because I saw him, but it's whatever. I don't want to spend too much time on this. So anyway,
your favorite Star Wars movie?
Okay. Real quick, the reason why I hate Attack of the Clones is the Anakin frolicking and the fucking having a picnic with Padme.
I barely remember.
Oh, that will never leave my mind.
I know it's the worst dialogue ever, but
never leave my mind.
I can't remember it.
That movie's fucking stupid. Okay. Top of all time. It actually doesn't change a ton. Well, it changes a little bit. Okay, Empire Strikes Back. Oh, yeah, Empire Strikes Back. Return of the Jedi. Am I going to give it to Phantom Menace or Rogue One? Honestly, I'm still going to give it to Phantom Menace. Then I'm going to go Rogue One. Then I'm going to go A New Hope. It's a weird order. It's a fucking weird order. And then I'm going to go Revenge of the Sith. Then I'm going to go Solo. Then I'm going to go... I don't even want to put these in here at all. Last Jedi. Rise of Skywalker. Attack of the Clones.
You didn't even like the Yoda fighting
scene? You're out of the mic.
You didn't even like the Yoda fighting scene in Attack of the Clones? I love the Yoda fighting scene.
No, yeah, that's cool. It's still going to be my least favorite of all time.
Would you like in Rise of Skywalker? You have to at least like something in Rise of Skywalker if you're not going to like Attack of the Clones.
It's visually and audio. Like,
beats
it's just more pleasing because it just beats it. There's nothing... I even feel like the acting is better in Rise of Skywalker, and that's saying a lot. Because I think that
what else happens.
There's good actors in Rise of Skywalker.
Dude, no, even Obi-Wan Kenobi has a decent fight scene against Jango Fett.
Okay, let me just put this out here. The one thing that Attack of the Clones has over everything else, shit-wise, is me having to watch Darth Vader literally frolic through grass. I'm not talking, like, literally, he is skipping. He skips and holds hands with Padme and spins in circles and lands in flowers. That automatically puts that lower in my book than...
I can't remember that.
No, that scene
I remember they're sitting afterwards and having a little picnic, but I can't remember him frolic. I remember him frolicking. I don't remember him spinning and falling down.
That scene will never leave my mind. It will never go lower than my least favorite Star Wars movie for that reason. There's a reason that I skip that movie every single fucking time because I hate it. The only thing, you know what? No, there is one thing I like about it. I do like when Anakin gets dark and murders everyone in that village. You know, when he's saving his mother. I like that
when he snaps. Yeah.
But it's just the fact that, like, you know, it's just the fact that that's in the same movie as him frolicking and like dancing in flowers that makes that null and void to me.
there's some really terrible dialogue between him and Padme too. Not
Oh, there's very terrible
throughout
dialogue.
the whole.
Well, because he wasn't a good actor until Revenge of the Sith. It's terrible.
He's not even good in Revenge of the Sith, honestly. That's my favorite movie is Revenge of the Sith. Surprisingly,
That's your favorite out of everything.
It's my favorite out of all.
Out of everything.
Out of all of them.
Okay, give me your numbers.
So if we're gonna, I was just saying the first and last, but yeah, if we want to go through them all, yeah, it goes Revenge of the Sith, Revenge of the Sith, Return of the Jedi, Empire Strikes Back.
That's where it gets hard, huh? After you get some of those out of the way, it's like, fuck, where do I place everything? I felt weird putting Rogue One before A New Hope, but at the same, like we said earlier, it doesn't hold up as much. So I feel like watching it like right now, like I have to put it up there.
Yeah, so definitely A New Hope.
It was actually hard for me to put Rogue One in front of a Phantom Menace. Phantom Menace in front of Rogue One.
I put both of those in front of Rogue One. Go New Hope, then Phantom Menace in front of Rogue One, then Rogue One. Then Force Awakens, then Solo. I could watch Force Awakens again before I could watch Solo again. Honestly,
have you watched it since you watched it in theaters?
Yeah, I watched it with I think I watched it with my roommate's kid.
I actually almost want to put it lower just because of the fact that every time I've tried to rewatch, but the thing is I can't put it lower yet because Rise of Skywalker hasn't been out long enough.
I get kicks out of watching movies with other people. Like, I really like showing people new music that I like and new movies I like.
Me and you should watch Force Awakens together because I haven't been able to get through it alone.
And we should maybe we can get Bree's kid to watch it with us or something and make it worth it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to sit and that's what I think of it. Like, I think of what are the rewatch factors? Like, okay, like, yeah, if I had kids or if I, like, again, my nieces or nephews or somebody who's never seen it, which movies would I want them to see and like, I don't want you to watch Return of the Jedi. Like, I don't want you to see that movie.
Dude, if the rest of the series, I know.
I'm not Return of the Jedi, I mean Last Jedi. I don't want you to see
Last Jedi. Dude, we're broken fucking records, but if the rest of the series did good, it would have rewatch factors. Okay, finish your list.
So I stopped with Solo after it goes Solo, then after Force Awakens, then Attack of the Clones, then Last Jedi. I'd rather watch at this point. I'd rather watch Attack of the Clones than Last Jedi. I don't want to see Last Jedi again. Because
you know what? I want to do something with you. I want to watch Attack of the Clones and Last Jedi back to back.
I can't, dude.
No, I want to do that.
I feel like that's like going through a flu.
I want to do that, and I want to see how we feel at the end and just be like,
I got this new temporary disease that only lasts for 2 days. I really want you.
Which one can we...
How do you feel about hangovers without drinking? Like, that's what you just asked me to do. Have a hangover without drinking, dude.
We just need to see which one is the absolute never watch it again. Which one holds the title for the worst? Actually, I don't even want to do that. I want to watch. I want to watch Rise of Skywalker, Last Jedi, and Attack of the Clones all on the same day.
I wonder how long I can go without watching Rise of Skywalker. I wonder how long I could hold out.
I want you to watch it soon, just so I can talk about it with you.
I mean, I probably talk about it more than anybody else could with you right now.
Honestly, yeah. I've had more of a conversation with you than I have with others.
I hate that I feel good about not seeing it. All right, let's try. I'm tired. This is late. I'm glad we got to talk about this. I hope this does something for somebody. I hope somebody listens to this, and because I feel like these are things that everybody's thinking and everybody's kind of saying. And it might be a little beating a dead horse, but it was a nice racehorse. You know, what I mean?
Did a lot of that, but it's all right. That's all right.
I needed this. I appreciate anybody who listened to this, anybody who got this far in this podcast. Thank you.
It's like 2 hours.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be something like this. I got work in the morning, but this was 100% worth it. I will go watch it. Anybody who's mad that I'm commenting on a movie I haven't seen, I get it.
I know that, like, above any, we're pissing people off in general in this movie, but the fact that we talked about Rise of Skywalker probably just as much as the others, but not, if not more, and you haven't watched it, is going to piss people off.
That's
but
okay.
whatever.
I'm happy with my decision, and that's all that matters to me, because I really wish I would have never seen The Last Jedi. I'm really disappointed in what that movie did to my life. Like, I know you don't watch Game of Thrones.
Don't switch directors through a trilogy. Don't do that.
Obviously.
If you're going to go for a solid story, just don't fucking switch directors in the middle and then go back to the original. That does not make sense.
Yeah, and it really felt like Kathleen Kennedy had an agenda. It really did. It felt like it was everything she did was in spite. It feels like everything she did was, and maybe I'm wrong, but that's just the way it comes across. And maybe
I even feel like J.J. Abrams was fucking spiting Ryan Johnson after. Ryan Johnson was even making comments like fucking after he was like, "Oh, I don't really back The Last Jedi."
Yeah,
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
You're saying that after it flopped, you fucking asshole. You know you were backing the shit out of that movie before everyone was like, "Oh, this is terrible."
Yeah, like I said, he went into the movie. He said it before it released that he was trying to make it contentious, and like that's where I give the little.
He made it pretentious.
Yeah, dude. I give the little shithead fucking credit for exceeding
being an outrageous asshole.
Yep, that's what he said he'd do, and he did it. So go fuck yourself, Ryan.
Good job, dickhead.
You ruined you
ruined the trilogy.
That sucks. I feel so bad for all these actors and actresses.
Terribly. It could have been something good. It was not. Could have been so much better. Even for the people that thought it was good, just know. And I know that you know. I know that even the people that love it know it could have been better. Could have been much better with the resources they had. The fact that these are like some of the highest budget movies ever, they should not be this bad. Like, if you're spending like nearly $300 million on a movie, just in general, I feel like it should be a principle that the movie should be good. Like, people shouldn't be leaving the theater like, oh, what the fuck just happened? Like, I know money doesn't mean everything. There are people that make great stories off of little budgets, but if you have a budget this big and it is a movie that rides this much, you need to do more. I'm sorry. I know I'm pissing a lot of people off.
Did you bring up? Why don't you bring up how much The Last Jedi cost real quick? Let's just throw that little nugget in at the end because that really seemed to piss you off. That there was $113 million missing in the estimate.
Oh my god, I almost forgot about that. So when I looked up the budget to The Last Jedi, and everything I found said between 200 and 317 million, and that really bugs me because I can see you not accounting for maybe like a couple 100,000 or maybe like $1 million or something.
Literally, when our government goes to Iraq and loses a bunch of money and be like, "Oh, what happened to this $1 billion in weapons?"
That is nearly half. That's nearly double. That's more than half.
That's a budget of an entire movies.
That's more
the budget of entire movies.
Dude, I could make movies for the rest of my life.
Wait, didn't Revenge of the Sith only cost $113, which is how much they were missing? Like, Revenge of the Sith costs $7 million less than Attack of the Clones, which is $120. So the amount of that they're missing for Last Jedi anywhere is the same amount of money that it took to make the entire movie of Revenge of the Sith.
Wait, I don't think that's completely right. Hold on.
I thought it was like $100 million basically missing. Like, it was like anywhere from $200 to $300 million, and the Revenge of the Sith only cost $117, is what you said.
Oh wait, you said Revenge of the Sith. I was thinking of. Yeah, Revenge of the Sith was $113,
which is how much they were missing for The Last Jedi.
Yes,
like anywhere between $100 to $120 million.
Honestly, even more because almost 120.
You could have made an entire movie with how much you don't know where it is.
An entire better movie.
Yeah.
So let's just that really fucking irks me too. Like, I just feel like that's a big cop out. Like, maybe you want to make some. He's like, oh, we did some reshoots and stuff. No, just fucking. You know what? Then just say you did 317 million. Don't say, oh, maybe. I feel like that's just them spitballing to try to avoid the fact that they're fucking idiots. They're like, oh, maybe we used 200 million.
I think
maybe
it's because
we used 317.
I think there's a genuine reason that they had to do so many reshoots that they literally lost track of how much it actually cost them to fix.
Probably.
All right, I'm done. I appreciate this episode. Like, I really do. It was good. I knew I had to get out of my system one way or another. I appreciate Caleb letting me do it so early. So. We'll be signing off, folks. I'm scared and unprepared.
We don't even say that anymore on Horror Soup. I actually hate that catchphrase, and I told Brie a while ago, I was like, we're not doing this anymore. We just stopped. No one said anything so far, so.
All right. Merry Christmas, everybody. You guys have a good night.
Oh, fuck. It was Christmas, huh? Merry fucking Christmas. Thanks a lot, Star Wars.